Good day to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to watch Round 5 of the Master Race Car E-Challenge 2023 season. We are at a layout inspired by and an accurate recreation of the Adelaide E-Prix Circuit today. It has been very exciting to watch in qualifying, which has already started. So we'll get to the action really quickly. There you can see a map of the track. That looks like the Adelaide E-Prix Street Circuit, based on the old Formula One circuit. A little bit shorter than the old F1 circuit, but has all of the exciting elements that we've seen through the years and years of motorsport history. We'll cut to cars on track in just a moment. I will introduce my friend Tom Jones, who is here in the box with me once again. Hello, Tom. Lots of action already in practice and early qualifying.
Yeah, it's been very exciting seeing all the cars running around, and I think we're on for a promising show today with a lot of excitement to come.
So some of this excitement we can owe to the conditions. The forecast was for heavy rain in qualifying and in a race too. And right now we do have light rain, wet conditions on track, cars going around shod with wet tires, and it is treacherous. Notably, if you had a quick look at that map we showed on screen just a moment ago, this fearsome turn 8 kink, drivers in practice have been very committed to that corner in the tricky conditions. As we watch one of these, one of the blue machines go through the tires in the chicane. Yeah, Moreira, I think you're right. We'll try to pick up cars as you come through this kink, because the bravest will be the fastest and will benefit the most, positioning themselves for the best result in qualifying. Watching Moreira go through these corners now into the wall, very difficult conditions. Yeah, so as we were saying, this turn 8 kink is, I think, the feature element of this lap. Tom, we saw drivers going through there on wet tires. The most courageous were 275K on the way in, and then the bravest of the brave, full throttle all the way down to the apex, but it is so hard to do.
Yeah, the bravest or the silliest, your choice really. They might enter it quickly, but can they hold it through? There's some that have proved they can do it, to us anyway, when there's no pressure on, but can they do it when it really counts?
So Tom and I have gotten very excited about the conditions and the impact that will have on the race, but we can see right there Imran Azar getting it a little bit wrong over the curbing. Imran Azar is one of the, if not the main story of the race today, in a championship fight with Gabor. Imran trails by 6 points. Imran also only has 2 wins this season to Gabor's 3. So for Imran to take the championship, he needs to score more points today than Gabor. That is the only way he can win a driver's championship. Gabor will be the champion if they tie, or if he scores more points, of course. And then we have Nico Pantola, Tom, who is a long shot, a dark horse for this championship. But if trouble were to befall his competitors, he could just sneak into the championship winning position. But he'll need 2 very strong finishes, probably wins, and he'll need to take the bonus points for pole position and fast lap.
Yeah, he'll need an almighty coming together of Gabor and Imran for him to have the opportunity to take this championship. So he's an outside chance, but we've seen wilder things happen in these events.
We have indeed. However, looking at the timing tower now, shifting our focus to the cars on track and the times we have seen fall so far, Gabor, clear advantage, Tom. He is more than 3 seconds clear of Alan Terzic, who is one of the newcomers today. They're in second position.
Yeah, he's doing very well for as a newcomer, getting himself right up there. Imran Azar, I think in the open practice session before this, Imran Azar did end up getting the fastest time in that practice session. Not by much, I think it was only about a 10th, but it'll be interesting to see how we can match up to that against Gabor now.
On camera with Carlos Machiotis, who we wanted to follow around for a lap because he was one of the quickest, one of the most courageous through the kink, but he stopped at the final corner. There we go. Looks like he's winding up for a fast lap now. Here you can see on board over his left shoulder, he'll want to jump on the brakes for this very difficult chicane. He wants to avoid the tires on the right side because that is a penalty that he has just picked up for himself right there. He could complete this lap, but he will have this lap deleted owing to having gone through that barrier, unless he just missed the tire, but it looked to me like he clipped it pretty well. A series of left and right hand 90-degree bends. He's gone through one right. Here's one of the left-hand corners, site of that infamous coming together between Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher in 1994. Now right-hand corner, shortens the old Grand Prix circuit, now turning right onto this back straightaway. On the left, you will see the exit right there for the attack boost section. We do have attack boost today. And now Carlos Matriotis wants to be as fast as he can be, as brave as he is willing into this kink, all the way down to this curb. Nearly was more than 200 kilometers per hour, or 170 miles per hour into the kink, and gets the car slowed down for the hairpin. A little bit late turning in, but gets the car nice and balanced for the corner. A little bit of oversteer coming through here. The rear of the car wants to get away with these low grip super tires. A little bit wide of the apex, but neat and tidy on the exit. Through one kink here, and now hard on the brakes for the final hairpin after this kink on the right. Braking while sliding all the way out to the curb. Just gets the car. He just missed slowing the car down wide of the apex. This will not be a quick time, but a great demonstration of car control on these tricky tires. Just as Careless comes through, Tom, we have dry conditions. This is where we get to see these cars shine.
Yeah, it's big announcement there from Race Control. Everyone on the slick tires will want to be kind of abandoning their lap and getting those changed onto the slick tires to go as fast as they can. It's a good lap there from Imran Imran Careless. In regards to that first chicane, I think it's after a chat with our race director earlier. I believe it's if they hit the second tire bundle, they'll have their lap time deleted.
There we go. Imran Azar coming through now, diving into this kink. Ooh, slides all the way out to the wall. That's going to slow him down really badly. Cars now coming out of the pits on dry tires. The first one that I have seen, if we could pick him up, will be Jared Mead, who is coming on the back straight now. I believe this is his out lap, so he won't be fully up to speed yet, but we can see just how quickly they go into the kink in the dry conditions. Jared Mead, 273 kilometers per hour at the apex. One of the Grigorievs in the way as he jumps on the brakes for the final corner, but a little bit too late. So we saw this, Tom, in practice. Drivers brave through the kink, which is easy to do when you're on the drier tires. It appears to be flat and pretty well under control, but then braking for the hairpin, very difficult.
Yeah, they carry so much speed in these cars, and then they just suddenly need to get all the way on the brakes. These are the fastest speeds we've done in these cars all year because it's such a long straight, and so it's a new challenge for the drivers, and it's not got much room for them to recover if things do go wrong.
Jared Mead neatly through the chicane and now on the brakes for this right-hand corner. Gets through there nice and clean, a little wide of the apex, but well under control. Next 90-degree left-hand corner here, and then two more 90-degree right-hand corners before he comes onto the back straight. He'll want to get a good exit out of this corner, get the power down without too much wheel spin. A little bit wide of the apex, but nice, well-controlled on the power. And now this should be the first flying lap we see of any drivers. There could be one or two that we missed ahead of Jared, but comes through the kink now, 274 kilometers per hour at the apex, just clips the curb, 289 on the brakes. Does he get it slowed down in time for the hairpin? He does indeed. Beautifully slowed down for the hairpin. Nice late line, good exit through the left-hand kink here on the brakes as Zdravko Deponiak was in that corner and is now timing out. We'll check that out in just a moment. Jared Mead about to complete a lap, wants to open up this kink as much as he can, neatly coasts his way in, braking a little bit early. Not early enough, though. A little bit wide of the apex, out over the curbs on the right, and dry lap time from Jared Mead will be good enough for only third position. So Gabor and Nico Patola were able to get out ahead of him on dry tires. Jared Mead only 2/10 back of Nico Patola, but Gabor, Tom, class of the field once again.
Yeah, a shock twist as well. Imran Azar didn't get enough time to go out and change onto a set of dry tires to put a time in. So we'll have to see how many more people have a dry tire lap left, because Imran Azar is sat there on a 1:22.3, the fastest of the wet tire runners. But if there's 4 people to go who have got the dry tire compound, he could be in trouble.
Yeah, so Alan Terzic is in 6th position. He will be safely through into dual qualifying no matter what. This lap does not matter him. And Carlos Matriotis is also out on circuit, but Carlos Matriotis safely through into the top 8 as it is. So all of these drivers safe. That will conclude the open qualifying session. Again, Carlos Macioitis' time will not matter. He is already safely through the top 8 for dual qualifying. We will have Gabor at the very top, Nico Patola in second. A distant chance for the championship, but putting himself in a strong position to make as strong a challenge as he can. Jared Mead in third, sets a respectable lap time on dry tires late in the session. Carlos Macioitis not far behind, with Imran Azar, Alan Terzic, Roni Kronpush, and Simonas Salkauskas on wet tires, not able to set dry tire times, but safely through into the top 8. We have a few things to talk about, some business for us to conduct while we wait for everyone to get ready for dual qualifying in the background. Tom, big story today is the championship scenarios. So Gabor obviously in the strongest position, and then Imran Azar if he takes more points than Gabor, but he is 7 points behind winning this championship. You can see that he's only 6 points behind on the championship standings, but again, Imran Azar needs to win today. Tom, we said at the end of the fourth round a couple weeks ago, we felt like Imran Azar had a chance.
He definitely does. We said it, and it's coming true. It's going to be very close and very exciting. I think we did get a bit of a breakdown provided to us about the positions that need to happen, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit later.
Yes, indeed. And this track, another one of the stories and how it plays into the championship standings, Imran Azar famously judicious with his use of energy, and this very long straight and that difficult kink, the slow corners where you have to power out, picking up a little bit of wheel spin, wasting energy. I think Imran Azar's at an advantage there because he is so good at conserving and using his machinery, saving a little bit for the very end when he really needs it.
Yeah, he's always been rather excellent at that, and it's going to be an interesting one today to see if he's able to really exploit that to his advantage. It's a lot of energy using down that back straight, so it's going to be a rather interesting one to see if he can pull it off again, and if the people around him will have the opportunity. We know Nico always have a little bit of an issue with his energy, and that's, I think, why he's a bit off the top of the results.
Yes, indeed. There we can see the Teams Championship Master Race Car have this nearly stitched up on the back of greater participation from their team. Team Citus, Gabor doing all of the work there. So effectively done for Master Race Car. They will most likely be the Teams Championship winners, but should they all fail to finish today, and we do have 18 cars registered, could be on the back of 2 wins and all of the bonus points, one for fastest lap and 3 for pole position. Maybe Gabor can squeak out just enough to take that team's championship for Citus, though it is unlikely.
Car 34 has been disqualified from the qualifying session.
Race Green Autosports a little too far away to sneak second unless Gabor completely fails to finish both races. A distant possibility, but still in there. Roni, as he always does, we know he'll do his best to try to snatch second position. Heard in my ear that car number 34 was disqualified. Car number 34, which is Carlos Macioitis. I heard that he was, but I didn't hear why. So
I've got
get
that
Pete
for you,
in the
Travis.
background.
It was reversing when he reversed on track before the final corner. Him reversing there has cost him his chance in the qualifying duels.
Well, that makes it interesting because one of the people that we were watching closely in qualifying to see just how brave he was around the circuit, and one of our very good friends who we often share the commentary box with, Zdravko Toponiak, will be elevated to the top 8 in dual qualifying. So Carlos Macioitis was in 4th, reversed on track. That's a big no-no. Zdravko Toponiak will duel in the top 8. So the new top 8 will be Gabor, Nico Patola, Jared. Carlos was 4th. He is disqualified again. Imran Azar, Alan Terzic, Roni Kronpush, Simona Salkauskas, and Zdravko Toponiak rounding out at the top 8 for qualifying. Still getting ready in the background, waiting to get duels started. A couple more points of order to discuss today. One, we do have some newcomers. You can see there making it through the dual qualifying. Alan Terzic, a familiar name in Live for Speed community and these events that we broadcast on Sim Broadcast. So we want to welcome him. We also have João Paulo, the number 23 car, and Guilherme Moreira, the number 73, newcomers today. And also Tom, we have 3 drivers who have chosen to take the boost in race 1, Alexei Grigorievs, and race 2, Carlos Machiotis and Scone Roberts.
Yeah, Carlos is going to need to use that boost to maximum effect in that second race, because he's got the issue now with this with the disqualification in his qualifying. He's going to have a big race ahead of him in race 1, and then sort of hope for the best in race 2.
Yes, indeed. And finally, the attack boost section, which we are missing in round 4, we have once again, if you recall that map, and we'll gently nudge Pete to bring that up for us on the stream. The attack boost section is a long, easy corner, a big 180-degree sweeping bend after turn 6 and 7. So drivers will go straight on at turn 6 and then rejoin the circuit after turn 7. Tom, that turn 8 kink is tricky in normal conditions, more tricky in wet conditions, but these drivers, when they run through there in the dry, carry so much more speed into the kink. The attack boost section, I think, is going to be a bigger factor today than it has been in any of the earlier races. Apologies for that. I think Tom is having a little difficulty with his microphone, so we'll check on him. And we do have duels about ready to start. Coming up now, we see Gabor driving away. Waiting to see who will be in the first duel. It should be Gabor, and Zdravko Toponiak was going to be the driver in 8th position. Waiting for them to be called to pit lane to go out in just a moment. Tom, I was sounds like Tom's got his microphone sorted. I was saying a moment ago that the attack boost section is going to add another interesting element to this race here today, because the drivers will be able to carry so much more speed into the kink.
Yeah, definitely. It's been an interesting one. They carry, this is the only circuit they carry so much speed onto the actual attack boost platform itself. It's quite a fast entry for it, and I've seen during the practice and qualifying sessions earlier, or the practice session earlier, people were hitting it quite hard, and then you see the weakness in their setups, because I think I saw Jared Mead get launched about 6 foot in the air when he hit it, because he went a bit too fast. So I have to be careful of that one, and then really sketchy through that really fast kink of turn 8.
Yes, indeed. And here we go. That is Gabor, who is lined up first with Zdravko Toponiak, the 8th place finisher in qualifying after the disqualification of Carlos Machiotis. Track conditions says light rain, and we can see the overcast skies in the background, but the track right now considered dry as Gabor goes out first. We'll pick up Zdravko Toponiak in the background in just a moment. These two on their out laps. Again, dry tires. Gabor just missing the bollards turning in there. He wants to get as much heat in these tires as he can before he comes around, wind the car out onto the back straight, fire it through this turn 8 kink, and then negotiate the last few corners on the circuit. That hairpin at turn 9, and then a few sweeping bends as he comes around to the final hairpin at the final corner. Tom, I think this one almost certainly Gabor, but we saw some bravery from Zdravko in practice.
Yeah, Zdravko, I think, was taking a bit of my approach to qualifying. Just practice, go as hard as you can and find all the ways you can kind of get it wrong, and then come back round and do it right when it matters. So we'll see that. We know he's fast. We know he quite often is able to take the fight to Gabor. But of course, Gabor does have so much more practice in these cars. So it'll be interesting to see who's able to pip who at the post for this one.
That is easily the most honest assessment I've ever heard you make of your own qualifying performances. Gabor comes across the pit exit line on the brakes, pitches it into this chicane, well clear of the tires. Nice and safe line through there. He doesn't want his time deleted. Throws the anchors overboard for the first of these 90-degree bends. First right, and then left up here, and then he'll go right twice before he comes onto the back straightaway. Nice and clean so far. In the background, Zdravko Toponiak just coming across the start-finish line. We will pick him up after Gabor goes through the kink. Gabor wants a good exit off of this corner before he comes toward turn 8. Looked pretty good, a little bit of wheel spin on the exit, but otherwise well under control as we watch Zdravko come through these 90-degree bends. Gabor 274 kilometers an hour through the kink as we watch Zdravko Toponiak negotiate the 90-degree bends before he approaches turn 7. Gabor easily makes the hairpin ahead of Zdravko. Now watching Zdravko come through turn 7. winds it up for turn 8, a little bit ragged over the curbing and into the wall. Gabor about to conclude his lap, coming up to the final hairpin as we watch Zdravko Deponiak come through the kink, neat down to the curbing, just misses the wall on the outside. Very fast through there for Zdravko, but it depends on getting the hairpin right after the kink. He does. Gabor across the line, a minute 13.62 seconds as we watch Zdravko Deponiak come through this left-hand bend up. Oh, just misses the curb. Thought he was going to go sailing over it, but keeps the car inside the boundaries of the circuit through this kink. He wants to brake right as he comes to the exit. Turns the car in, a little bit of wheel spin. The rear of the car getting away from him, trying to put the power down. A little bit ragged on the exit, but Zdravko Deponiak able to do a 14.29. Not fast enough to overtake Gabor. Tom, Gabor, it doesn't look fast, but it always is fast.
Yeah, he always makes. I think we see this a bit. He always makes a few little mistakes at the start of the duels, and he sort of hones it in, builds it up, gets faster and faster and faster. And then when we get to the final round, he goes and blows everyone out the water by about half a minute. So we'll have to see what he's got in his locker and how he can improve on that going forward. But as you said, it never always looks the fastest, but it always is darn fast.
Yes, it is. Watching Imran Azar now. Nice and clean. No drama at all on his warm-up lap. Taking it pretty easy. He'll want to put some, well, I spoke a little bit too soon, the rear of the car getting away from him there as he comes around to start his flying lap. Through the kink now, he will be on the brakes nice and early. Take the car to the outside to open this up as much as he possibly can. Ooh, Tom, this might be, we'll see what the stewards say about that. Going well outside the boundaries of the circuit to carry speed down the front straight. I think that's a little bit naughty.
I would agree with you. That's if it's not against the rules, it's certainly unsportsman. But these drivers, as you know, they'll do anything they can to get as much of a advantage that they possibly can find. So you'll have to straight through the barriers for Terzic. Hit the first tyre bundle, so I think his lap could still count. We'll have to see where the stewards decide if he was far enough over for it to actually be removed. And there we go. Terzic has had his lap time deleted, and Imran Azar has won the duel.
Yep, so Imran Azar will be through the duel. He may or may not know this yet. We'll see. He's certainly not wasting any time getting through the kink. Nice and tidy. Out to the left side against the wall. Brakes for the hairpin. Brakes perhaps a little bit too aggressively for the hairpin. Looked like there might have been some handbrake involved there. But regardless, Imran Azar will be safely through. And owing to that disqualification, I assume that will mean Alan Terzic will line up behind Zdravko Deponiak. Imran Azar coming through to complete this lap now. Nice and easy on the brakes, down to the apex for the hairpin. He will set a time, but it will not matter. He will be safely through this duel, and we await Alan Terzic to finish his lap, though it will be deleted. We'll wait for Alan Terzic to come across the line, and then we will have Jared Mead and Ronan Krompush. We can see lining up the end of pit lane out on circuit in just a moment. There you can see the bracket for the duels. Jared Mead, Ronan Krompush up next. The final qualifiers in the quarterfinals will be Nico Patola and Simonas Salkauskas. Waiting for Alan Terzic to leave the circuit. Alan Terzic about halfway around now, and Jared Mead goes out on circuit. Tom, Jared Mead was one of the drivers we were watching closely in qualifying, or in the open practice, sorry, because he was among the most aggressive on the wet tires going into the kink.
Yeah, he was. He was always very hot on it. So we'll have to see if he's going to be doing that again in this. If he's got the commitment right with the dry tires. Indeed,
and we'll once again we'll try to manufacture some suspense and intrigue. There are a few drivers, Ronnie Krompush, going the wrong direction there, though he's managed to gather it up and continue. Few drivers very quick on the wet tires through the kink, and then on the absolute ragged edge of adhesion coming to the hairpin. Among them, not Gabor. Gabor very conservative on the wet tires when he was doing race run practice. So we talked a few minutes ago about how Gabor makes it look so easy. It's always so undramatic, so that's probably on purpose, and it is probably quick. But some drivers we saw going much more quickly through there as Jared Mead gets the hairpin a little bit wonky, starting his flying lap. On board with Jared Mead, past the 100-meter board, jumps on the brakes for this little left-right chicane, cleanly through there without hitting the tires, through the kink. and he'll jump on the binders for turn 4. Wants to get it turned in nice and just clip the curbing there, which he does. Gets the power down nicely. Left-hand corner now, and coming up to this right-hand corner, just past the entrance for the attack boost section. So far, clean on the way out of turn 7 now. Attack boost exit once again on the left side. And now Jared Mead wants to open up the kink as much as he possibly can. He will send it full throttle. Nice entry, rear of the car, compliant, far from the left side barrier there. I don't think that's the quickest way around, but he does get the car nicely slowed down for the hairpin in the background. We do have another, there is Ronicron push coming through the kink right now, about the same line as Jared Mead has done. So we watch Jared Mead come through the kink and into turn 14 now. Jared Mead on the brakes. Nice, clean, down to the apex, well under control, runs the car out to the exit. Hard on the power, comes across the line. Now for a minute 14.5, we await Rony Kronpush, who is coming up to the final hairpin. Turn 14 now. Similar line, very clean for Rony Kronpush. Kind of an early exit, so doesn't get the power down quite as quickly. Doesn't run the car out. That'll cost him a little bit of time. 14.56 finishes just behind Jared Mead. So Jared Mead will be through to the next round. Rony Kronpush will line up behind him. Simonas Halkauskas given the green light. We're running drivers through it very quickly to get through this qualifying session. Simonas Halkauskas out on circuit. No Nico Pantola, unless we've missed him go out, Tom.
You did. Nico is already on track. I think he's around turn 5, 6. Yeah, he's just done turn 5 now, going to turn 6, and then 7 and onto the back straight. There we go. Jared Mead, the first of that second bracket on there for the quarters. Or semis.
Well,
my brain's gone.
my apologies for missing that, and my regards to race control for running drivers out on circuit just as quickly as they can, getting through this dual qualifying in due order. Nico Pantola, nice and conservative through the kink on his opening lap. Doesn't want to damage the car, doesn't need to take any risks, just wants to bring the tires up to temperature. Tom, while we wait for Nico Pantola to start his flying lap, I think tires won't be as much of a factor today unless it is the threat of rain and wet tires in some of these really tricky corners that could cost drivers by simply making it difficult to stay on the circuit and keep their cars undamaged.
Yeah, there's going to be, I think more we think about it, if we do end up on the wet tires, then there could be some issue just with the sheer scrub through turn 8. Oh, Nico sliding there through the chicane. Did a very good job to keep it under control and out the tire walls. But yeah, as I think if we're on the wet tire, the scrubbing through the turn 8 could possibly cause problems with then going through the chicane. But other than that, I think tires should be absolutely fine.
Nico Pantola using all of the grip that the rear of that car is willing to give very early into the power, and the rear of the car just trying to wiggle away from him. He wants to get through to the next round. His only chance at a championship is to take as many points as he possibly can, and he does have bonus points available that will help his cause. Very quickly through the kink, hard on the brakes coming into the hairpin, a little bit late on the brakes, but manages to get the car turned in late. Good exit after a late apex through the kink here at turns 10 into turn 11, and now he will come through turns 12 and 13. This right-hand kink, he wants to keep as much throttle down as he can, just lifts at the apex on the brakes, brings the car down through the hairpin on the power, runs out to the curb, a little bit of wheel spin on the exit, but this looks pretty quick from Nico Pantola. Comes across the line 13.97, so just behind Imran Azar. Probably good enough for this duel unless Simonas Halkauskas has found a lot of time that he did not have in practice. 14.95, well behind Nico Pantola. So the next round in dual qualifying, we will have Gabor, Imran Azar, and Nico Pantola. And we'll need to see the bracket for the lineups. Again, Alan Terzic had his lap deleted, so he will line up at the back.
Track has gone wet.
And now we wait. Now we wait for drivers to line up. Tom, we have wet track now, so that explains not having the drivers lined up and ready to go right away because the conditions have changed.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing that interestingly, and I think we've got we've got Gabor versus Imran to start, and then it's going to be Jared versus Nico. This duel here, I'm going to call it a bit early. I think this is going to be the winner of this is going to take pole position. I might call that a bit early, but that is my prediction. These two have been consistently the fastest all the way through. So that's where I'm going to put my money.
I appreciate you coming in with the hot predictions unprompted. I'm inclined to agree with you, but these wet tires, they did all of the drivers who were going out in this round of dual qualifying plenty of practice under their belts on these wet tires, but it's so easy to make a mistake when there is so little grip available. Gabor out on circuit already. Imran Azar just leaving the pits now, as we can see. The race control message that I was talking over was explaining that the track was wet. I apologize for that. I will be more attentive when we hear Jonathan Palmer in the background in the future. Gabor coming through turns 6 and 7 right now, and this is what separates the pros from the elite. Will be the line through the kink in wet conditions. Gabor doesn't want to take too many risks on his outlap. Plenty of lock on the front wheels, trying to get as much temperature into those tires as he can. Through conservatively, but then full opposite lock. Tom, heat matters, but I think talent is going to matter as much as the condition of the vehicle.
I agree, Travis, and I think generating heat is a talent that Gabor is currently showing us he has.
Yeah, he is indeed. Yeah, he is all over the shop trying to get as much temperature in these tires as he can. Nice and easy into the hairpin. He wants to make sure that he gets as good a run as he possibly can out of the final corner. Stays inside the yellow line. We'll look backward for Imran Azar and see if he takes the unorthodox line through the front straight again. There we can see him coming through that kink now as Gabor gets through the chicane cleanly. Imran Azar taking that wide line again. Curious if this will hold up. But it was apparently allowed through the first round of qualifying, so I assume it will be again. But we will keep listening for a call from the stewards. Watching Gabor now, nice and clean. There isn't much grip, but Gabor makes it look like there is. The rear of the car rotating around nicely. Gabor has this well under control. Little bit of wheel spin coming into turn 7, and there we go. Lap time deleted for exceeding the boundaries of the circuit. That's done some damage to Imran's campaign for a championship as we watch Gabor send through the kink. Big slide on the way out, but it won't matter, Tom, because he'll be safely through owing to Imran's disqualification.
Yeah, I understand why they've done it. I think it's a little bit... I think they should have done it in the first race as well, though, just to add a bit of consistency there. That's the only thing, but it's there now. We all seen it. We all thought it was a little bit cheeky and he shouldn't really have done it, and there we go. Gabor through. So my prediction is going to be Gabor on pole position.
Gabor not giving up on this lap, though. This is valuable practice and reconnaissance, though he hooks the left rear tire up over the curb while the left front was inside it, so crabbed a little bit over the margins of the circuit. But again, safely through. Imran Azar disqualified for exceeding the boundaries of the circuit, starting that lap. Now we watch Jared Mead come through on rain tires. And again, we saw this in practice. Tom and I mentioned it a moment ago. Jared Mead was incredibly brave on the wet tires through the kink. I hope we will see him put together a strong performance in qualifying and show one of the big sins he managed to do in the practice session.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think this is going to be a real tell about how he matches up against Nico. Is, I think, maybe a bit of bravery on it, but also is he being over brave and overdriving the car, because we know it's so easy to overdrive this.
Something else we saw Jared Mead do in practice, and if he's been paying any attention to the disqualifications, he might not do this here. He's chosen to grind against the wall to put a little bit of heat in that tire. He's gotten away with that in earlier rounds, so it would be a bit inconsistent if he were told off here, but the stewards are watching, so that might get a little bit of unwanted attention. Nico Patola very conservatively through the kink, weaving a little bit to heat up those tires, and now settling in for the hairpin as we watch Jared Mead come around to start his lap. He's across the wet tire commitment line, conservatively through this kink, using the front tires, weaving to put some heat in them. Nice late entry into the hairpin, and Jared Mead is off for his flying lap.
Yeah, I think the difference between this round and other rounds is that Jonathan Palmer is actually the steward this time and not race director, so maybe that's a little bit of a difference. So
I think you've gotten that the other way around. He's in race control, and Provost is the chief steward. So perhaps Provost is less lenient than Jonathan Palmer. Maybe we can ask them about that later. But we'll shift our focus back to Jared Mead, who is getting through the first half of the circuit very well. A little bit squirrely at the back end of the car. Hard to get the power down. He's touched the wall in a couple places, but otherwise not too bad. Good exit out of that corner. A little bit of wheel spin, but gets the car under control. And now he's going to go wide to the left. And in practice, he was full throttle through the kink on wet tires. A little bit of a lift on the way in. Gets the power down on the way out. Well under control. The car not sliding too badly on the brakes pretty early, but this will get him a good exit out of the hairpin, though he does drive wide of the kink. Nico Pantola all the way down to the curbing. Huge slide out to the exit. Just misses the barrier. Full commitment from Nico Pantola. Jared has this under control, but Nico looks quicker, Tom.
Yeah, I think Nico's one of those where I think Nico looks a bit ragged at times, looks a bit all over the place, and then does put in a great lap. Nico went through the kink there at about 245 Ks, so I didn't see what Jared did, but it's a little bit down on what we've seen him do a bit before, and he's run a bit wide going into the final corner, but he's gotten around it okay after we hit the bumps. But Jared has crossed the line with a 124.26. Nico, a lot of wheel spin coming up to the line, and there we go, 123.84. Nico through to the final round against Gabor for the shootout for pole position.
That helps Nico Pantola's cause for a championship. He is a long shot. He needs to take a lot of points off Imran Azar and Gabor, and he will need help from the conditions or from his competitors. But Nico Pantola doing what he needs to do to control the factors that he has in his power through to the final round of dual qualifying against his usual teammate, Team Sidus driver Gabor. Again, Nico Pantola this season driving for Pacifictech, as we see him trundle slowly out of his garage and down the pit lane. Gabor, a nice cheeky slide, putting on a show for the spectators. Out to the red light and the pit exit line. There you can see Gabor, minute 22.99 on the wet tires, almost a full second clear of Nico Pantola. This prediction is unfolding as you called it, Tom, but not over yet. Nico Pantola could pull something out, and one little mistake is all it would take to give Nico Pantola 3 bonus points and elevate him just a little bit closer to an unlikely championship.
Yeah, it will be a wild one to see, but as we say, we've seen wilder. So let's see what Gabor's got in his locker now for this pole position shootout.
I think Gabor can afford to be a little bit conservative here. He would certainly like the bonus points because he has Imran Azar behind him, but Imran Azar disqualified. We need to see where that will line Imran Azar up in the race. I don't know if that means the back of the dual qualifiers or the back of all qualifiers. We'll have to consult the rule book on that one because we're actually not sure. So Gabor can afford to be a little bit conservative, though he doesn't want to give away points if he can avoid it. And I think he probably doesn't have to worry about Nico Pantola because he is so far clear in the points. Heard in our ears from Jonathan Palmer that Imran Azar will line up 4th. So there we have it. He will not be sent all the way back. He was disqualified from that duel, but I guess still credited because he wasn't disqualified from the first round, even though he pulled the same move.
Travis, I don't think he was disqualified. He just had that lap time deleted, so it wasn't a disqualification. Yes. It was just an invalid lap.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for correcting my understanding. I completely beefed that. Nico Pantola, a little more aggressive on the tire warming in the final round of duels as we watch Gabor ahead of him, taking the wide line just on top of the yellow line as Gabor sends the car well under control on the power. No wheel spin. Across the line now to start his flying lap. Into the chicane, on the brakes a little bit early, gets it turned in over the curbing. Ooh, lots of wheel spin over the curbs on the exit of the chicane, but gathers it up. Now hard on the brakes for this right-hander, and this is where rhythm and flow matters. Gabor makes it look like he is on dry tires here, but there is so much less grip than there is in dry conditions. Gabor has this easily in hand, smooth and flowing, rolling into the power all the way out to the exit of the corner. Gabor putting on a clinic of wet driving here, Tom.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Smooth and flowing was what Nico wasn't on the exit of that first chicane. He was a bit all over the place, so I'd put advantage currently in Gabor's court. We're not exactly sure on his split times, but Nico's there, just done a 25 seconds for his first split. So it'll be interesting to see where we're going to be at with the splits going ahead for Gabor.
Gabor into the kink faster than we had seen him on any lap in practice. 265 on the way in, 260 down to the apex and smoothly out to the exit. No drama, no wheel spin, no slide. Gabor on a flyer through the kink now, lifts just at the exit, uses the curb to slow the car down a bit wide of the entry, and the rear of the car gets away. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Really poor exit, owing to the car going sideways at the apex. I think that is Nico's shot, though Gabor with a sensational lap of 1:21.69, even though he got the final hairpin a little bit wrong. Nico Pantola power sliding all over the place. I think he's seen Gabor's time and knows he can't get anywhere near it, and he's decided to entertain us instead.
Yeah, Travis, at the second split, he was over a second down. So there it is. 1:24.39 for Nico there, having a bit of fun at the end with Gabor stamping his authority and doing it once again with a 1:21.69 to take pole position for the first race of the final round here of E-Challenge.
That is a stunning lap from Gabor. He went more than a second faster than his earlier qualifying time to get him through the semifinals. Unbelievable performance from Gabor, which further cements his championship lead. That will give him 3 bonus points for pole position going into race 1, which we will have drivers in the briefing and preparing for in just a few moments' time. In the background, we got safety cars out on circuit while they prepare. Hearing that we got 7 minutes until gridding starts, so drivers will conduct their drivers' meeting. Race control and the stewards will set the grid, and we will take a moment to refresh ourselves, get a breath after a thrilling qualifying session, and then we'll be back to discuss the lead up to the race, and then bring up the lights and take off for race 1 in the final round, round 5 of the Master Race Car E-Challenge 2023 season here on Sim Broadcast. We'll be right back in just a moment. Welcome back, Sim Broadcast viewers, for round 5 of the Master Race Car E-Challenge 2023 season at a replica of the Adelaide E-Prix Circuit. Very exciting qualifying session. Sensational lap to cement pole position for Gabor. You can see there a map of the circuit. The classic Adelaide, the Adelaide Grand Prix circuit with a little bit on the upper left side there cut off. But a near perfect replication of the circuit that Formula E runs in the real-life series. We've got a few things to talk about before we go live, or before the cars grid for race 1. That's happening in the background, driver's briefing and the setting of the grid. First one, Tom, our friend Scott Roberts is back today.
Yeah, good to have him here again. I can't remember if he said he would be, but I know he enjoyed it last time, and we're happy to have him as always.
We are indeed. Great to see him out on circuit, and we'll thank him for his time talking to us when he was here for round 4. We really appreciate that, and we know the viewers, people in the community, appreciate hearing from him as well. So hats off to him. Thank you very much, Scone, for joining us 2 weeks ago and again today. You can see some of these, you see these shots around the circuit that we've snapped from earlier sessions. These beautiful cameras around this replica of the Adelaide E-Prix Circuit. These cameras done by Elmo, our friend in our ears, unable to join us today, but we want to make special mention of his work. He has done, Michael has not just done a perfect replication of the layout, but Mo has done an exact replication of all of the camera angles from the V8 series. So we're thrilled to bring you these pictures. And we're very happy that he put so much effort in the background to bring us these beautiful pictures. One more thing we should mention. We didn't get to this in the qualifying session, though it did. We mentioned it in passing a few times, and it did actually happen. There are some rules associated with that stack of tires you can see in the background on some of these pictures at the chicane at the very beginning of the lap. In duels, drivers had laps deleted for touching those tires. During the race, drivers will get 3 trips through the tires or around them. Either way, not within the boundaries of the circuit. 3 times they're allowed to go through there without any penalty. The 4th one will be a black and white conduct flag. The 5th will be a drive-through penalty. So drivers will want to be cautious going through there, especially if we encounter wet conditions when driving is a little bit more treacherous. Their penalties could add to the complexion of this race. Ready to grid up now. We will bring you that shortly. Gabor, once again, will be on pole position, extending his championship lead ever so slightly to start this race. 3 points for pole position, so he's now 9 points ahead of Imran Azar. There on the right, Gabor in that purple, yellow, and white machine in pole position. Alongside him, Nico Patola in the Pacifictech machine, blue, white, and yellow. Lining up behind these two on row 2 of the grid, Jared Mead, the Canadian for Savage Angus Racing. The bright yellow machine, Imran Azar, had his time deleted in dual qualifying for exceeding the limits of the circuit. Alan Terzic, newcomer today, the Slovenian in 5th position with the bright green, race green machine of Rona Kronpush alongside him. Looking back to the next row, Simonas Salkauskas alongside our friend and co-commentator Zdravko Deponiak, just sneaking through into 8th position after a disqualification by Carlos Machiotis. There you can see Lorenzo Lucidi, the number 18, alongside Pedro Vitor, the purple machine there with Petronas branding on the side. Behind these two, Carlos Eduardo, and then Scone Roberts, the number 37 right there. And here we have the Grigorievs, Olegs, and Alexei behind these two. Further back, we have Yasin Bidal, the Italian. And we have one driver missing from the grid, I believe. We'll have to check on that. Gary Morera and then Carlos Machiotis and Joe Paulo lining up at the very back with one of the course cars in the background. Tom, you have about 10 or 15 seconds to get some exciting predictions in. Go for it.
I reckon many people are going to go
5
through
seconds
the tyres at the start. There we go. We've got 5 seconds to lights there. So be quick. Many people through the tyre wall at the start, and carnage on the long straight into the king of the hairpin. First lap.
Brief and bold. I appreciate it. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights up. Ready to go racing for round 5. Now lights are out. Gabor, great start. A little bit sluggish from Nico Patola. Jared Mead got a great jump in the background. 3 wide alongside behind them. Jared Mead is ahead of Gabor. I didn't see what happened to Gabor as we watched the grid go by. Jared Mead has sailed through into the lead. Didn't expect that. Everyone through single file cleanly through the chicane. Predictions not coming off for Tom yet. Everyone deep into that corner, though, Tom. I think it wasn't in the chicane, but this has happened before where you make a prediction that comes a little bit late. Everyone getting that first corner completely wrong.
Yeah, and a bad start to the race has gone to worse for Imran Mazar, as he was a real loser from that, and he has dropped down now something like 7th or 8th, I think. I'm not 100%. We'll have to try and find him.
Now coming into this kink is Jared Mead, who was very fast through here. Plenty of practice on wet tires, committing to this kink in these difficult conditions. Now clearly in the lead as we watch the rest of these cars snake through. Imran Azar down to 9th position. That is not going to help his championship hopes. But Jared Mead through the hairpin now with Gabor just behind, and Alan Terzic, a lightning start from him up to 3rd position, taking advantage of cars going off behind. Carrying Gabor now, so Gabor might be, I hesitate to say this, but I'll do it anyway. Gabor might be struggling a little bit in these conditions, whereas Jared Mead appears to have it all figured out.
I'm going to counter you and say Gabor's playing the game where he doesn't want his car to run out of energy. And I think that's a brilliant idea to do.
Well, he saved a little bit of energy there by getting boshed out of the way by Alan Terzic. So Alan Terzic, an amazing start from 6th position on the grid, now up to 2nd behind Jared Mead, who we've seen make some of these inspired performances in the past, now trying to outbrake Alan Terzic. Alan Terzic dragging that right front tire, locking it up, but Alan Terzic threw into the lead, 6th to 1st in the span of a little more than one lap. Amazing performance from him, Tom.
Yeah, it's very surprising, and I wonder, has he got the energy game right? Because I think he's not saving as much as the regulars are, so it's going to be a bit of surprise. We'll have to see how he handles this later on. I think we're going to see a lot of people get the energy wrong because this is such a long straight, and they don't want to see the drivers ahead of them run away from them. But then again, if they lift off the brakes and lift off the throttle and just save a bit, it will come paying back for them in dividends later when they can use that bit extra boost and the others around just can't.
Yeah, we talk about conservation being a key element of these races, and I think it's going to matter here more than it does anywhere else.
Imran Mazar just trying to make a sneaky move up the inside of Zdravko. Zdravko lost the car a little bit, clipped Imran, and he just did a full 720 and managed to get going again, just losing a couple seconds, but this is not Imran's race right now.
No, it is not. All going very poorly for Imran Azar as Alan Terzic sails off into the distance. I was about to say that conservation is a key theme in these races as he goes through the tires. That's the race control will count that. Nico Pantola has hit the tires. Nico Pantola has been... Yeah, Nico Pantola, I thought he'd been through the tires. Hearing now that he hit one of the tires that Alan Terzic had pitched around, he's reversed down the circuit to keep the momentum up, done a pirouette, put the car the right direction, and is now going ahead of Imran Azar. Tom, I don't know if that's legal, but it was incredible. Heads-up driving by Nico Pantola.
Yeah, I don't think they can... I think it's fine because he's going the right way. Yes, the car was backwards, but he was going the right way. He was being very mindful of the cars around him and did his rotation when he wasn't going to take anyone out. If he did that right in front of someone, I think they probably would have looked at him and given him a bit of a slap on the wrist. But because of he had the mindfulness not to just spin it around in front of a group of cars, I think he should be okay.
I could see this either way, but I'm going to appeal personally that I hope they let that one go, because that is stunning heads-up driving by Nico Pantola to be able to reverse the car. Ooh, though he's not seen Yassin Badal there. That's a little bit naughty. I don't think he saw Yassin Badal, didn't expect him to be there, and has just clipped him. Yassin Badal able to gather up the car, nearly out of control over the curbs and into the wall, but still pointing in the right direction. Go ahead, Tom.
Track dry cool. Oh, huge clip with Nico and Yassin Badal. Imran Mazar, very last person who was going past the line, could dive in as soon as they said track was dry. That means all those people in front are going to be doing a whole nother lap on these wet tyres, where the likes of Imran Mazar, Nico Pantola, Rody Krompos can get the tyres changed. There we go. Imran's got his tyres done. He's just got to get out the pits now, not get penalised for speeding, and then the ball is in his court. He gets a lap less on the slower tyre. That's 10 seconds he can go faster with, and he'll get a bit more heat into the tire as well. So this has really put the favour back in Imram's.
It really has, but I wonder with those drivers coming together in pit lane, did it cost them 8 to 10 seconds to crash into each other, end up sideways, and then get turned the right direction? Imran Azar was able to get through pretty cleanly. Nico Patola, not so much. Alan Terzic has sailed off into the distance and has a bigger margin on the trailing drivers now on dry tires, but they're at such a horrible disadvantage here, having been on the wet tires for a full lap. Zdravko Toponiak, full send on the wets, trying to get around to take dry tires, loses it. That's going to cost him a ton of time. As we look back now to Jared Mead, Alan Terzic, Gabor into pit lane. Jared Mead decides to hit one of the signs on the edge of the pit lane there, perhaps in frustration. Now on dry tires, he wants to get away quickly, but Alan Terzic easily out of the pits before anyone else saw. I think it might have been Yasin Bidal coming outside. Joe Paulo is there behind Alan Terzic. Alan Terzic has gone through a red light at the end of pit lane. I assume that's there by mistake because the pit lane exit should be open, but we'll make sure that's accurate. Jared Mead out ahead of Gabor. Alan Terzic still credited with the lead. So yeah, and Tom, they were far enough ahead. And the sorting out that accident in pit lane cost them enough time that Alan Terzic miraculously able to retain the lead.
Yeah, I don't think it was the accident in pit lane. I think they were just genuinely that far behind. That's why they've got through here. I think it's definitely a case they were just that slow as Paolo dives into the attack boost to stay out of the way for people, which is kind of heads-up driving, but I think he's just stopped on track. He needs to keep moving.
So we were trying to get a word in edgewise a few minutes ago about energy and conservation, and then it all popped off. Now we have a moment to look at the energy, and Alan Terzic, Tom, this is your favorite topic, and I know you love working the calculator in the background. He has disappeared into the distance 5 seconds ahead, but that is an alarming consumption rate.
Yeah, he's not making it to the end on that. They need, I think it's something in the region of 4.6%, I think. 4.6 to 4.8%, I think they need. They can use per lap, and he's not doing it. He's a bit over that. Imran Azar skirting the edge of it. I think he's going to be all right, and a few of the others are skirting the edge. So it's going to be interesting to see. But it's one of those. Terzic just hasn't got his energy consumption right so far, and needs to figure that out if he wants to make it to the end of this race.
Indeed, Jared Mead teasing the tires. We watched him go through. There we can see Ronan Kronpush, a little bit lonely in 6th position right now as he just misses one of the tires himself. Savetas Halkauskas in 7th, coming through the chicane with Zdravko Toponiak behind, just misses the tire stack. He'll want to stay well clear of those. As we pick up Alan Terzic in the lead, who is using way too much energy to make the end of this race. He has a big enough gap that he could start saving aggressively and perhaps retain this lead. But as you said, Tom, at this rate, it's not going to happen. Here, in dry conditions, cars super committed to the to the kink there at turn 8. But I watched Jared Mead lift just past the apex. So the next of the topics related to conservation that we wanted to mention is that long straightaway and then the kink. It requires so much energy to get the cars up to speed. We didn't know yet in race conditions where they would be lifting in order to save, and now we know. Gabor and Jared Mead running a comfortable pace. My apologies. Jared Mead holding his own in front of Gabor, and they have to save very aggressively, coasting for 400 or 500 meters before they jump on the brakes.
Yeah, I think we've got our first attack boost usage. I'm not entirely sure who's dived in, but someone has gone into the attack boost, so we'll have to see how that's done for them later.
That may have been Yasin Bidal. We'll check on the counts on that. Once again, Imran Azar, who we see now, has managed to put himself in a strong position to challenge for the podium. It looked awful for him in the first lap. And he got a huge advantage by being able to dive into pit lane, take dry tires when the cars ahead were still committed to the circuit, one more lap on wet tires. But now it's come off for him again. He is always there where he needs to be. He's well off the lead, but he's not far behind Gabor and Jared in 2nd and 3rd, though he does have Nico Pantola harassing him from behind. And we know Nico Pantola will aggressively try to take a position. Imran Azar right where he needs to be.
Yeah, Nico's already made the attempt once, and Imran defended it well and got back off. As I think Gabor made the move on Jared there into the hairpin that lap to now take second place with Jared just tucking in behind him in third.
So Jared Mead finally succumbs to the pressure by Gabor as we watch Nico Patola chasing Imran Azar. Imran Azar famously good at conserving energy, so as long as he can keep Nico behind while saving, he'll be in a strong position to challenge Gabor and Jared if he can just close that gap. And that's the other thing he is able to do, Tom, that surprises us every time out. He saves energy so well, yet he can turn the wick up and find just a little bit more pace so that he puts himself in a position where he can fight and use the excess energy he has saved over the course of a race run.
Yeah, he does a very good job at maintaining the momentum, which in these cars is ultra important because that's really where your energy burn comes from when you're trying to build up that speed. So he does a very good job at holding a higher minimum speed threshold round the corners so he doesn't have to burn quite as much to get up to speed. And he does well with the old regeneration as well.
Tom, I've noticed Jared doing something interesting. We'll watch him around the next lap and see if we'll see if I saw this correctly or if not. It looks like he's doing a dab of the brake into the kink to get a little bit more energy recharge. If you dab the brakes, they do have regenerative braking, and it looks to me like he's just making a slight dab of the brake to squeak out a little bit more energy.
Maybe, very maybe. That's an interesting point. There was a message from race control just come through then. I didn't hear it. I don't know if you heard it, but I think it was something to do with the attack boost for car 45 Yassin Badul. I could be wrong.
I was hearing that it was about chicane cutting. So I think it was car 45, that is Yassin Bidal. Got a warning for cutting the chicane, so he'll want to keep an eye on that. So we watch Jared Mead now, so we'll follow him through the chicane. There is a light on the back of the car that indicates when it's recharging, and it is always recharging when it's on the brake. So we'll keep an eye on him as he chases Gabor, holding his own. He didn't do it that time, so I may have imagined this, but because they need to slow down and make the chicane, and because energy matters so much, I'm curious if we'll see him do that again. Alan Terzic has cleared off, Tom, but I think we're still in pretty strong agreement that it's not going to matter. He can grow this gap as much as he likes, but he's going to run out of energy with a couple laps to go and find himself at the very back.
Yeah, it's that. I think I can never remember who said it, but I'm going to say it. To finish first, you first have to finish. And unless he pulls something quite incredible out of his pocket, I think that second part of that statement is going to be the issue for him.
Beginning lap 10 now, positions have stabilized. The car's strung out a little bit now. Alan Terzic is the leader, but we don't expect that to be the case in 12 laps from here. Race control message on the screen there. Incident involving cars 12 and 25 will be investigated post-race. Lap 1, turn 14. So I assume that is probably a couple drivers colliding. We'll check on that. Alan Terzic in the lead, but we don't expect that will be the case at the end of this, the first two races today. Gabor in second with Jared Mead chasing in third. Jared holding his own pretty well, about a second and a half up there to Gabor. Nico Patola in fourth with Imran Azar there in fifth. Nico Patola got past him on the previous lap. We missed that while we were talking about the energy saving and energy regenerating strategies that these drivers can employ. Ronnie Krompush lurking in the background at sixth. Simona Salkauskas seventh. Carlos Maciojaitis disqualified from the dual qualifying session. Had to line up further back up to 8th position. Zdravko Ponyak in 9th. Scone Roberts from 12th on the grid up to 10th. Good performance from him. Pedro Vitor 11th. Oleg Grigorians 12th. Lorenzo Lucidi 13th. Alexei Grigorievs in 14th. 15th and 16th. Yassin Bidal and João Paulo 1 and 3 laps down, respectively, is Zdravko Ponyak. Again, he's been hot into that corner a couple times, Tom. I think you mentioned last time that he is quick, he's very talented, but it seems like he doesn't quite get on with these cars.
Yeah, I think my opinion of him, he could tell me at any point I'm talking absolute rubbish, but my opinion of him, he's a guy who quite enjoys the old downforce cars, and this thing it's so easy to overdrive. It doesn't have any. It does have a tiny bit of downforce, but it's incomparable. My brain has gone. I'm trying. It's not really. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect it that much, and it's not anything you can really put to good use.
Simona Salkauskas coming out of the attack boost section now. First driver we've actually seen do it. So you had him on screen a moment ago, carrying 267 into the kink. So plenty of extra speed from the attack boost section. None of the leaders have used that yet. So there is a big advantage to using the attack boost at this circuit. We will see just how effectively the leaders are able to employ it. Nico Patola, there we can see just ahead of Imran Azar, took that position a couple laps ago. Imran Azar definitely wants it back, though we know he'll be able to snatch that off Nico because he always finds a way to do it. He needs these points to finish ahead of Gabor in the championship. After qualifying, Gabor took 3 points for pole position, putting him 9 points clear of Imran Azar, and now Imran not in a strong enough position to take the championship from Gabor. Imran Azar needs more points. He needs 7 more points he is 6 points trailing Gabor right now. He will need to finish 1 point ahead of Gabor to take the championship. And right now, it is not on. Alan Terzic appears to have begun saving aggressively, Tom. That gap, which was 10.5 seconds, now 7.5.
Yeah, he's a lap short of energy already. I just ran the calculations, had a look at it, and he's a lap short currently. So I quite quickly expect Gabor and Co to come flying up behind him and pass him, because he's instead of losing a couple tenths a lap, he's now going to have to lose half a second, maybe more a lap, just to make it to the end. So there you go. He's just done a 1:20.2. Have to see what the guys behind do, and but he's still trying to make up time where he can, but it's going to be stiff for him.
Yeah, he needs to save some time. He's also launched one of the tires that all the cars behind him were able to use their advantage. There was no tire stack there, and they all happily went through the gap. So a bit of an advantage for them, disadvantage for Alan Terzic, because that will go on the tally that race control are keeping. Nice train here forming ahead of Imran Azar, right where Imran Azar wants to be. This is where he has succeeded and shined in earlier races, just lurking in the back of this lead train, conserving energy, using the slipstream to make the car a little bit slipperier through the air than the car leading, in a position to take points. But right now, he needs to be ahead of Gabor.
As Jared's got to move up the inside. Sorry, Jared's dived up the inside of Gabor, and he's made the move stuck. He's got straight on past him. I think he caught Gabor napping. He'd sat back there for about 5 or 6 laps and nothing, and hadn't tried anything. So Gabor just assumed he was sitting there, and then just suddenly made the move when he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, strong move from Jared. A little bit late on the brakes. Managed to get the car stopped just in time, cleanly through the Grigorievs, those blue and yellow machines, very, very politely out of the way. We haven't talked about them a whole lot, except as back markers. We appreciate them competing because they don't have the pace of a Gabor or an Imran Azar or a Nico Patola, but they have shown up every week. They're out there together. They're very polite and courteous drivers. They've gotten quicker as the season has gone on. So we really appreciate their participation and their patronage. They don't have the flash. They don't get the attention that some of the leaders do, but it makes a difference having everyone out here competing. So we want to thank them for that. Jared Mead stretching his gap over Gabor a little bit. So Jared, I guess, feels confident with the amount of energy he has available. He's going a little bit more aggressively through the kink now. So I suppose the calculation he has done, Tom, is that he can carry a bit more speed through there, go a little bit later on the coast and then the break, and take some points off Gabor. We should mention that Jared is in championship contention, though it is an extremely long shot. He would need Imran Azar, Gabor, and Nico Patola to all disconnect and take 0 points. And he would need to take a couple wins. If he could stay in second position, a win looks plausible. But yeah, Jared Mead, the dark horse, putting on a strong performance today, showing Gabor how to make some passes out on circuit, and now running a strong second.
Yeah, he's doing the only thing he can do, really. Get ahead and keep them behind. If he does that, then that's the only thing he can do, and he's doing his job in this event. I'm wondering when we're going to see one of the front runners dive into the attack boost. We're coming up now. We've got 8 laps to go, so there'll be a point where 3 laps they'll have to and have to start using these soon enough. So be interesting.
Yeah, I'll correct you there, Tom. They don't actually have to use it because this started a wet race, so they're not compelled to use all 3. They are entitled to use all 3 if they want to. They might not use more than 3, but they do not. They are not required to use it because the race started wet.
I forgot about that, if I'm honest.
It's okay. There was a lot going on at the start of this race. Nico Pantola now right up there with Gabor. This is. Well, it's not playing into Nico Pantola's hands yet. He needs to get past Gabor to have any shot at this championship, which was already very slim for him. But Imran Azar, I think, is probably enjoying this because he's able to save. He's able to run a typical race for him. And if he can get through and snatch the points off these 2 and then maybe catch up and pass Jared Mead, that would put him in a strong championship position. But the laps are winding down, only 6 and a part of a lap remaining. He has some work to do as there's a big wheel spin from Nico Pantola, just snatching the steering and getting that car pointed the right direction again. These 3 are running close together while Jared Mead a bit more comfortable in front of them. This gap, Tom, to Alan Terzic has come down rapidly, now 3.7 seconds. Alan Terzic, as you said, needs to give away a half a second or a full second a lap to conserve that energy, and it is showing.
Yeah, it's not quite worked out as the race strategy he wanted. That being said, he still does have a few laps to go, and I'm just going to see if we can check his energy sooner or later, and then we'll be able to have a rough idea of is he saving enough. There we go. The shown on the screen there, black and orange flag for car 77. Both axles need the same tyre compound. He's already pitted to resolve that issue, unless it's just coming back again.
Yeah, that is Alexei Grigoriev's. That is an odd mistake, but not an uncommon mistake to make to tick the tires on both ends of the car during a pit stop. I assume that happened when he came in to change tires after the weather change, and then just missed swapping one of the ends. That will have made that car an unbelievable handful to drive, so hats off to him for making it work for as long as he did. And here we go, Jared Mead coming around, turns 6 and 7 now, and now has Alan Terzic in his sights, only 2.5 seconds up the road. Jared Mead can smell Alan Terzic ahead of him. I don't think Alan Terzic's lead is long for the world.
No, there is blood in the water, and Jared Mead is on the hunt.
Yeah, making up time even on the brakes there. Jared Mead, though, all of he and the drivers behind him are taking a big coast before they jump on the brakes into the hairpin. Alan Terzic has to be off the power so much earlier that Jared Mead has made up a full second in that sector alone. Yeah, so Alan Terzic, as you say, Tom, the blood is in the water, and most of it belongs to Alan Terzic. I think Jared Mead is going to sail by in a lap or 2.
You know, when we say there's blood in the water, and you say most of it is Alan Terzic, I'm going to point your attention to Gabor there. Not looking too healthy himself. He's best part of 2/3 to 3/4 of a lap less energy than the cars around him. He's nearly 6% less energy than Imran. That's over a lap. That's a lap and a half of energy advantage that Imran has. Gabor very well might be on his way out of it, but Alan Terzic has Imran Azar, sorry, I think is just might be picking up a penalty or something. I saw a notification resulting on the 15 car. We'll see what happens there. But there it is, drive-through penalty for Imran Azar crossing bend line lap 3. He didn't exit the pit properly, and that's just thrown all out the window because he's pit entry. Sorry, didn't get it quite right, and it's not going well. Lachidi, it's all going off now, and this is really throwing it in the water because Imran Azar was in perfect place with the energies. He's done all the job energy-wise, but now he needs to drive through the pit lane, which is going to cost him about 15 to 20 seconds. We see, make sure you get it right this time, Imran.
So I think, though, it may not be over yet for Imran Azar because, as you said just a moment ago, Gabor probably doesn't have enough energy. Gabor has gone through. Alan Terzic has gone. Oh, that wasn't Gabor. Sorry, that was another purple car. Alan Terzic cedes that position to Jared Mead. Jared Mead, who has plenty of energy. Nico Pantola also good on energy behind. Imran Azar, though, I think Imran Azar will be able to catch and pass Gabor and Alan Terzic. He'll be 15 to 20 seconds behind owing to that drive-through penalty, but we don't think that Gabor will even make the race distance, nor will Alan Terzic. So Imran Azar may yet be able to take points off Gabor. There we can see Gabor just coasting, letting Nico go by. So Nico making up valuable points on Gabor. Alan Terzic still on the power. I think he's decided that he has nothing left to lose. He's not going to make the end of the race anyway, so he might as well make this exciting. And Jared Mead is there comfortably in the lead, Tom.
Yeah, Jared, he won, I think it was race 1, or no, it wasn't, was it? He got really unfortunate race 2 at Mexico with that rain decision, which really screwed him over, and Nico pulled out that sensational win. But Jared, we know he's got the pace, we know he can do it. He's now got, it's a huge, and someone spun in the background. I think that might be Alan, because he's not in that lead group there, which is going to cost a lot of time.
Nico Pantola up to second there with Gabor behind him. Nico Pantola, I think on a normal day, he might help pull his teammate around, but they're fighting for a championship. So Nico, no reason for him not to just check out and try to build a little bit of a gap here while maintaining. Roni Kronpush has moved up to 4th position. Imran Azar is right there. Tom, Imran Azar is in contention. He will be right on top of Gabor by the end of this lap. Imran Azar taking a drive-through penalty for an infraction crossing the pit entry line earlier in this race. Gabor is so bad on energy, is so far down, that Imran Azar will be able to get through and take points off him. He's only 7 seconds off the lead. He is well ahead of everyone else on energy. Tom, Imran Azar might just pull a blinder here.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't have that drive-through penalty, my money would be on him for winning this race. Now I'm thinking Roni's gonna get past Gabor. Imran needs to then get past Roni, and then he's gonna have a good buffer of points. I think that might it'll put him close or tip him just ahead of Gabor in the championship standings. But yeah, I think he needs another lap on him, another position to really put some sort of comfort buffer on there, and then it's going to be a hell of a fight in race 2.
Should see gaps across the line in just a moment. 7.98 seconds back off the lead, so Jared Mead extending his lead, while Imran Azar chasing Roni Kronpush and Gabor. Roni Kronpush also pretty good on energy. It might be a little tight for Roni. Oh, Roni and Gabor come together. Imran Azar is through without having to fight for this position. Roni Kronpush now behind Gabor. Mistake from Roni. Looked like he just got into Gabor there. Obviously not deliberate, but a very costly mistake. Costly for Gabor more than it is for himself. Imran Azar through to podium position. Nico Pantola a little bit lean on energy. Tom, does Nico have enough?
Nico, I think he's going to be fine. The issue now is Jared. Does Jared have enough? We'll have to see what's coming up ahead. But where is Carlos Monteotis? Is he close enough to try and take advantage? I don't think so. Looking at the mini-map, the track map, sorry, he's a bit too far back to try and make a move on Gabor, and his energy's not looking too healthy himself. It's now sort of how far up can Imran Azar climb?
So Jared Mead is through, starting the final lap right now. He has Nico Pantola right behind him. So Jared Mead has enough energy to complete this lap. He should be through pretty easily, but he does have Nico Pantola right behind him. Both of them very quickly avoiding one of the Grigorievs who was pointed the wrong direction there on the circuit. That would have been completely blind to them coming through that kink. Heads up driving for them to avoid it. Nico Pantola could dive into the attack boost section here to carry extra speed. He chooses not to. He's going to stay on circuit behind Jared Mead. Both of them enough energy to make the finish. Nico Pantola struggling to get the power down right under the rear diffuser of this car. Jared Mead wants to hold on and take what we would have called an unlikely win at the very beginning. Nico Pantola needs these points. Imran Azar too far back, 5 seconds, not going to challenge for the win. Looking for Nico here. Jared Mead takes a defensive line. Nico Pantola can't get through. Jared Mead putting on a fade to the inside of the corner, but he goes too wide. Nico Pantola can't get the power down. Big slide. Stuck behind Jared Mead. Jared Mead, brilliant defense. That car is wide as the circuit, runs the car out to the curbing. He wants to be nice and smooth through these kinks. He wants to get the final corner right. Nico Pantola a little bit too late to make a big dive. He's going to go to the outside. Jared Mead beautifully defending. Nico Pantola can't get the power down. Jared Mead, a stunning defense in the final lap, comes across the line to win race 1. Nico Pantola takes points off Gabor. Imran Azar, out of nowhere, after a drive-through penalty, comes through to take a podium finish. Roni Kronpush will come through in fourth. We wait to see whether Gabor had enough energy to finish the lap. Lorenzo Lucidi is fifth. Tom, where is Gabor?
He came across the line. He came across the line fifth. He did finish the race, and he had about 0.5% in it. He lost a lot of time. There you go, about 20 seconds back he was in the end. So really hemorrhaged it in those last couple laps to really get to the end.
So waiting for the remaining drivers to cross the line, Gabor finishes in fifth position. Carlos Matioitis has the purple background on his sixth finishing position there, which would indicate the fastest lap of the race. But I see that Nico Pantola has done the best lap.
Sorry, Stravko
in the server.
Scorn has run out of power on the exit of the final corner and is coasting to the line and losing the fight to Stravko as a result, I believe. Either that or he lost the fight to Stravko on the exit of the final corner because he just didn't have the energy. Could have been another fantastic run to the line.
Just a bit too close on the energy for Scone Roberts, but even so, a respectable ninth place position for him. Struggled a little bit the first time out, but now up from 12th and into the top 10, finishing ninth in race one today. That was a stunner, Tom. Jared Mead, a brilliant defense of first position ahead of Nico Pantola, a very aggressive driver behind him. Nico Pantola and Imran Azar in third, both taking points off Gabor, who just barely gets through to finish fifth. Gabor will have taken 3 points for pole position, but Imran Azar now making up points on Gabor. We'll go look at the points table in just a moment. We'll work that out in the background to see where they are. But I expect the two of them should be pretty close to level. The Gabor, I think, may have the points advantage here. But Imran making the most of a really tricky situation, getting that drive-through penalty, a bonehead mistake crossing the pit entry blend line, but manages to recover to a podium finish. Roni Kronpush in fourth, gets by Gabor after they came together, but didn't really alter the complexion of the race for Gabor at all, who finished 10 seconds further back of Roni. Not enough energy to make a strong finish in the final lap. Carlos Matioitis up from further in the field to sixth. Simonas Halkauskas in seventh. Trafsko Topuniak, we just mentioned, squeaked by Scone Roberts for 8th and 9th positions. Lorenzo Lucidi finishes 10th. He took a penalty during that race. Pedro Vitor is 11th. Olegs and Alexei Grigorievs in 12th and 13th. Alan Terzic finishes 14th. He's given a DNF, though he did complete the race distance, the minimum required race distance of 75%, so he'll be credited with some points. Joe Paulo, newcomer, in 15th position today, and Yasin Bidal finishes 16th, only made 45% of the race distance, won't be credited with any points. Tom, this is an exciting series every time we go out, and we're picking up to a thrilling conclusion. We make bold predictions. Rather, I ask you to make bold predictions before, during these races. But once again, these drivers surprise us. The way the race unfolds, there's something new and thrilling every time out.
Yeah, if we said at the start of this race, I wouldn't have said Jared Mead would have won that race. I didn't think he quite had the pace in the practice, but turns out he was working on his race pace and his energy conservation. So then when he needed it, he had the defense to keep going.
So once again, tip of the cap to Jared Mead, winning race one just ahead of a very motivated Nico Pantola in second. And in the bronze medal position, Imran Azar, who needs to take points off Gabor to try to snatch the championship. He will have one more race in which to do it. We're going to do the driver's briefing for race two and gridding in the background. We will take 1 or 2 minutes to have a breath, and we'll be right back with you in just a few seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to Sim Broadcasts and Round 5 of the 2023 season of the Master Race Car E-Challenge here at a replica of the Adelaide E-Prix Circuit. Thrilling Race 1 with big championship implications. The points as they run, and we'll put an asterisk next to that. The points as they finished in Race 1 put Gabor on 253 points with Imran Azar on 252. Nico has made up some ground, is back there on 231 points, so he's going to need some help, but not entirely out of the realm of possibility for Nico Patola, doing what he needs to do as much as he can to try to steal a championship win, but still pretty far out of reach for him. However, I mentioned the asterisk. There is some review going on in the background of those race results. Could be a penalty coming for Ronnie Kronpush collecting Gabor on the final lap. That might demote Ronnie. That might elevate Gabor. So might give him a few crucial points and a slightly larger margin on Imran Azar going into race 2. There you can see the results on the screen. That is Jared Mead finishing in first position, surprising us, taking a win in race 1. Nico Patola in second, Imran Azar there in third, and then Ronnie Kronpush and Gabor, the contentious result there that the officials are reviewing in the background. We'll mention quickly that we do have Sim Broadcast TV and NDR merchandise. If you want to go to simbroadcast.tv, you can find a link there to get your SBTV t-shirt, your NDR t-shirt, a combination of SBTV and NDR t-shirt. You don't have to choose your favorite. You can have both. And we've got sticker sheets too. I happen to like these stickers a lot. They're the very thick and rugged kind, nice and sticky, appropriate for putting on a helmet, which I have done. Speaking of helmets, we've got one of the drivers. He's going to put his virtual helmet back on in a few moments when we get race 2 going. We've got Carlos Machioidis in the box with us, going to chat for a little while as we wait for them to sort out the race 1 result and get the grid set for race 2. Carlos, demoted pretty far down the order after you were excluded from qualifying, but you made a good recovery to 6th position, could become 5th position. Tell us what happened there in qualifying and how it worked out with the officials, and then talks through your race.
Hello. Well, it was all on me, really. I caught up to someone and I stopped at the last corner for a second. I checked my minimap, I saw no one's behind me. I thought I'll back up a little bit, but that was a really dumb move because logically you cannot do that in a race, in a qualifying session, anywhere on racetrack. So it's all fair that I was disqualified there. It's frowned upon in real life racing as well, so that's on me. But yeah,
even so, yeah, strong performance, good recovery.
Yeah, the first lap was really fun. I got from 16th to 6th, so 10 positions up. Mostly it was on first corner, and then what is it? I think it's 4th corner. Yeah, so most of the positions were on 2 corners, but still it was fun climbing.
And sounds like I heard Tom key his mic. Tom, go ahead.
That was Pete. But yeah, Carlos, you had a great recovery starting this race provisionally. I think you're starting 4th for race 2. How are you thinking about your chances going ahead?
Well, I saw how fast others are here, so I'm not that optimistic anymore. We'll see. I spent more time training with wet tires, so maybe it'll be better because I hope we will start on wets, though it's still dry. We need to wait for that, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be better.
I'm curious how closely you are looking at the timings during the race, like the gaps to cars ahead and behind you, and if you were, what you made of Alan Terzic just disappearing ahead of the field. Is that discouraging when you see something like that, or do you know immediately that there's no way he's making the end of the race?
Honestly, I noticed only after finishing. I don't really. I have the tire temperature menu up, and it removes the timing the timing table, so I don't really see what's around me except for the minimap. But the minimap is not as accurate as timing board.
No, that is accurate. It sure isn't. I know you need to go get ready for race 2. Final thoughts. Well, not final thoughts. We could talk to you again later. But going into race 2, what have you made of this season, and what can you do in race 2?
Oh, I loved this season. Overall, the whole Formula E championship was really fun. And race 2, I don't know. I'll try not to crash.
Well, we wish you the best. Good luck, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us. We'll draw our attention back to the stream. There you can see the championship scenarios. Imran Azar is champion if he can get win in fastest lap, and Gabor is second in fast lap or worse. Nico is first in fast lap or worse. All of the scenarios there down to Imran Azar finishing 10th in the fastest lap, and we have the same combinations there for Nico Patola and Gabor. Gabor in strong position. He does have the championship lead right now by 1 point provisionally. That could become more points. We're still waiting to hear what the ruling will be on the result from race 1. Jared Mead, no question about his first finishing position, nor the podium finishing positions. Nico Patola and Imran Azar rounding out the podium in second and third. But there is this question looming over 4th and 5th positions, Roni Kronpush and Gabor. Tom, I think we said earlier that Imran Azar is in a strong position. Felt like he could snatch it. We've kind of swung back to feeling like Gabor is going to assert his dominance and use his talent to cement this championship. But it's so close, and Imran is so good at putting himself in positions where he has some flexibility. Bold prediction time while we have some time to muse on it. What do you think going into race 1?
Well, going into race 1, my money was on Imran.
Race 2.
Going into race 2.
Apologies.
He's made it. It's so close. It's so unbelievably close to call. I can sit here and say, I want Imran to win it because he's come from behind. It's sort of an underdog story. But then Gabor, he's so consistent week in, every other week in, every other week out sort of thing. He's so consistent. It feels like he deserves it. But either way, these drivers have fought so hard all season, and I going into this final race, I honestly couldn't say. I think Imran kind of has the pace here a bit. Gabor had that issue with the energy saving, so it's going to be an interesting one, and I'm just looking forward to seeing a fantastic race and hoping we see a fight right to the end.
And it is worth repeating that in these cars and in this series, it is so crucial to conserve energy. And as you said, Gabor struggled a little bit in that race to conserve, and Imran was able to capitalize. It'll be the same story in race 2, though. We're looking in the background. We see that the track state is dry. There is a little bit of light rain. So weather could once again be a factor. And there we know that energy conservation becomes even more difficult because the cars, they have so little grip on the rain tires. It's easy to spin up the wheels trying to put the power down and just waste energy putting it into the car, going nowhere with those wheels spinning. Tom, Imran is so good at that too.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just seeing them starting to grid up and get everyone ready. So I think we're going to be going back soon. And I think from what I'm seeing, I think maybe Roni is keeping his position. So they've definitely sorted out all of the post-race inquiries they were looking into and just checking everything. So hopefully very shortly we will be able to present this second race to you. And yeah.
Yeah, as Tom said, the provisional pole position will be Lorenzo Lucidi, but as we look down at the order, Gabor starting ahead of Roni Kronpush. So that would indicate that he is entitled to keep that position. They did come together. I'm going to assume, as Tom has done, that it was ruled a racing incident. So there we have it. Pole position will be Lorenzo Lucidi ahead of Scone Roberts. Well done by him to finish in the top 10. That'll put him in second for the start of this race. Zdravko Toponiak in third, Salkauskas in fourth, and Careless, who talked to just a moment ago, will be starting at fifth position. With then Gabor Roni, Imran Azar, Nico Pantola, and Jared Mead, winner in race 1 behind them. Everyone readying up. I think we will be off and running in just a minute or two. We should have cars on a grid. Tom, here's your chance. Here's your chance for the big prediction going into race 2. How does this race start, and how does it conclude?
I'm going to say something absolutely wild, and I reckon. Well, it's not that wild. I think we've seen him do it, but I reckon Scorn's going to get off to a great start. I think he might take the lead off the start, and then I reckon Keros Montoyotis is going to come through and have a great run, and then I think maybe Imram and Gabor are going to have a horrendous crash together for a, I don't know, Stravko win of the race. Let's go with that. That's pretty wild. Let's see how that plays out.
Manufactured drama, poorly manufactured drama, but you'll look like you'll have a well-folded brain if that actually comes off. I don't think that will be the case. I am not going to predict, but I think it is going to be a straight fight between Imran Azar and Gabor. But I wouldn't count out the elements having some say in the result. Maybe Nico Pantola can just squeak in there. Long shot, but he does have a mathematical chance. Almost ready to go, waiting for, I think we have one more driver to get ready, and then they should be out there on the grid, and we will present it once again. This is the conclusion of the 2023 season of the Master Race Car E-Challenge, Round 5 at the Adelaide E-Prix Circuit. This is Race 2. Reverse grid from the finish of race 1. That's Jared Mead starting 10th as the race winner. Lorenzo Lucidi on pole position. Still waiting for them to get going in the background. A couple drivers unreadying. So we'll take 1 minute to just catch a breath, have a drink of water, and then get ready for race 2. We will be back in just a few seconds. All right, grid is set. We are ready to go. This race, 21 laps, 22 in race 1, only 21 in race 2. So one fewer lap to cover. Drivers won't have to be as conservative for the energy. They cannot avoid conserving, but they can afford to use a little bit more here and there than they might have in the first race. Here we are looking at the grid on the right side for the final time this season. We have Lorenzo Lucidi on pole position alongside a newcomer in race 4, one of the creators of Live for Speed, Scone Roberts. So well done to him starting on the front row of the grid. Our friend Zdravko Toponiak, number 2 there, beginning the race in third position with Simona Salkauskas in fourth. Third row of the grid, Careless Montoyotis alongside Gabor. Behind these two, the bright green race green machine, the number 96, Rony Kronpush, alongside championship contender, lined up right behind his rival. That is Imran Azar in the number 15, bright neon yellow machine. Nico Pantola, a long shot, but still in it, alongside winner of race 1, Jared Mead, the black and red number 98. Behind these two, we have Pedro Vitor, the first of the Grigorievs Olegs, ahead of his brother, the number 77, Alexei Grigorievs, alongside Alan Terzic, was comfortably in the lead, a little too comfortably in the lead in race 1, ran out of energy. I think he's learned a few lessons, should do better this time around. Behind these two, newcomer Joe Paulo on the final row of the grid, alongside Yasin Bidal starting in 18th position. Lights about to come up for the final time this season. Tom, final thoughts before we kick this one off?
It's been a great year, and I'm expecting a final race to go out with a bang.
5 seconds to lights.
Thank you very much. Lights coming up. there you can see the energies. The energies have gone away now. We'll look at those again in a minute. 3 lights, 4, 5 drivers getting away under light rain conditions. Track dry, raining now. Lorenzo Lucchini away cleanly with Scone Roberts behind him. Zdravko Toponiak pulls a blinder coming into the first chicane easily into the lead. Scone Roberts demoted to second, gets through the chicane, just avoids those tires. So hasn't fallen too far down. Nico Patola ahead of Imran Azar. Alan Terzic behind them. Someone's been in the tires. That is one of the Grigorievs gone around. But Zdravko Toponiak comfortably into the lead by 7 or 8 car lengths. Lorenzo Lucchini behind him. Carlos Machioidis has come up to third, able to snatch that position off Scone Roberts, though he just collects Imran Azar. I think Imran Azar didn't realize he was squeezing Roni there. Roni Kronpush falling further and further backward as Jared Mead and Alan Terzic go by, but Zdravko Toponiak, a blinder of a start from him from third to first as Carlos Machioidis goes alongside Lorenzo Lucchini into the kink through safely. Lorenzo Lucchini carrying a bit too much speed. Scone Roberts in fourth behind them. Gabor in fifth. Tom, this is what we are looking for. Gabor 3 positions ahead of Imran Azar as everyone slides through the hairpin as it runs, concluding the first lap. Oh, Zdravko Toponiak gets that corner wrong again. Carlos Machioidis into the lead. Tom, I was about to say, Gabor ahead of Imran Azar.
Yeah, he's ahead, and Alan Terzic has put him in another position back. He is quick, and we're gonna see as someone's run very, very wide,
Track
rejoining.
is wet.
Have to see, and there we go. Wet track, cool. Some of the guys out the back will be able to dive into the pits.
Yes, Tom, that is Tom. I'm going to interrupt you. Pedro Vitor, that call came just before he crossed the commitment line, but he's missed the entry, so we'll have to look backward. This is Pedro Vitor has missed. Someone diving into the pits behind him. That is going to be Joe Paulo, one of the newcomers. No, he's gone past the pits as well. Everyone going past. Oh, Alexei Grigoriev has tried to dive into pit lane, but he's done it too late. He's going to get a drive-through penalty for crossing the pit entry line. He made that decision just a little bit too late. I think it was the right call, but not executed very well. So everyone going to go around in the same conditions. Carlos Machioidis in the lead on dry tires. He will have to come in for wets. Alexei has already switched to wet tires, and he will be off and running in just a moment. But he's going to receive a penalty for that. That might have been an insanely lucky call, or an insanely lucky turn of events for Alexei Grigorievs, but he's unfortunately blown it with a penalty. Imran Azar goes by Scone Roberts and Nico Patola and Alan Terzic in one corner. Imran Azar takes 3 positions in one corner, now ahead of one of his championship rivals and the very strong Alan Terzic as all of these drivers come for pit lanes. Zdravko Toponiak has gone across the pit entry line. Carlos Machioidis did it cleanly. Gabor also did as well. We'll keep an eye on the entry. That's going to be a penalty for Zdravko Toponiak and Yassin Badal in the background. Lots of penalties coming, Tom.
Yeah, I think Imran Azar got it slightly wrong as well. He was half and half on it, so I think he might just get away with it. But then again, I don't know the 100% of the rules. Jared Mead's parked the car a bit difficult in front of Imran as well to sort of hinder his exit. But there we go.
Carlos Machioidis away in the lead. Gabor was behind him, and then Zdravko Toponiak. Zdravko probably going to be getting a penalty. Tom disagrees. We'll see what the officials thinks as one of the Grigorievs coming into the pits, seeing Roni Kronpush there ahead of Pedro Vitor, and Carlos Machioidis comfortably in the lead. That's 15 or 20 car lengths to Gabor. More than that. This is a 2 or 3 second gap. So as they run, after the track is declared wet and everyone has to come in and change tires, at the end of lap 2, Carlos Machioidis in the lead ahead of Gabor. Zdravko Toponiak in third, might be going backwards. Simonas Salkauskas in fourth. Alan Terzic up to fifth after very exciting opening laps of the race for him. Behind these two, Imran Azar not far off the lead and famously good at conserving energy. Alan Terzic follows Simonas Salkauskas into the wall. Nico Patola there behind Imran Azar. Imran Azar going sideways into the hairpin, just manages to save it, nearly collects Alan Terzic. Incredible save on full opposite lock from Imran Azar, saving his race and perhaps his championship there. Everyone tiptoeing around on these wet tires. Tom, now you get a chance to revise your prediction. Gabor comfortably in front, but these situations, we've always seen Imran Azar come back.
Yeah, I think we got to look for the penalties before any sort of predictions can start being made. It's all down to what's happened there and time to find out. Saying that, Gabor has just set the fastest lap of the race, so he is going away doing his thing. So be interesting to see. I think Stravko is in the pits. We'll have to try and find out exactly what's going on here, and hopefully find out and get him back on track soon.
Yeah, I don't know why he would have come in and stopped unless he stopped earlier and didn't actually change tires. Unless, I mean, is he preemptively serving a penalty? I have no idea. Yeah, we might see if he has a minute to share his thoughts at the end of the race. But as it is, not entirely sure what's going on there. Imran Azar still ahead of Nico Patola, running there in 5th position. This will not do for his championship hopes. He needs to be ahead of Gabor, and he needs to be ahead of Gabor. Ooh, into the wall as he does make up one position there as Simona Salkauskas into the wall and then hard into the gap in the barriers there. That will have done a number on that machine. Besides the fact that it has slowed him down by grinding against the wall, he will have taken heavy damage on the right front. Carlos Machiotis goes through in the lead. Gabor streaks by as well. That promotes Alan Terzic up to 3rd. Imran Azar up to 4th. As I was saying just a moment ago, Imran Azar needs to be ahead of Gabor, and not just ahead of Gabor. He needs to take 2 points more than Gabor. Gabor leading him by 1 point in the championship right now. Imran Azar needs to finish by at least 1 point ahead of Gabor. Gabor 3 wins to Imran Azar's 2 during this season. A tie is not good enough. With the fastest lap, Gabor could that works in Gabor's favor if he does take the fastest lap. Likewise in Imran Azar's favor if he takes the fastest lap. But I don't think we've seen Imran do that more than once or twice this season, if at all, Tom.
Yeah, I think especially today, Alan Terzic seems to have that 1 lap pace. So we'll have to see what he's able to do pace-wise and see if that's going to give him a clear advantage on, especially in terms of getting that fastest lap. We know we can get the fastest lap. It's just whether he can finish the race.
Watching at the top 3 come down to the hairpin now. Very tricky to carry speed through that kink and then get the car slowed down in time for the hairpin. There's Jared Mead in the background in 7th behind Rony Krampusch, up from 10th. Good job by him to make up a few positions after the reverse grid start from race 1. Yasin Badal sideways through the kink, but no, not any more sideways than Scott Roberts, into the wall, and then the car all over the shop manages to collect it. Lorenzo Lucidi now with the camber on that left front, all out of sorts. Lots
huge
of
crash
damage
in the background there.
Yeah, I didn't see who that was just as we switched away. It would have been one of the Grigorievs. Yeah. But there, we pick up Carlos Machiotis in the lead again, still extending over Gabor. Well, not extending, but still has a healthy gap over Gabor, a little less than 2 seconds. So Carlos Machiotis comfortably in the lead. He was very strong in wet practice. He's just missed turn 6, but Gabor does the same, goes up and over the curb and through the bollards there. So the two of them pushing hard, but struggling for grip on these tires. Gabor up and over the curbing and into the wall. I'm watching Carlos to see how fast he wants to go through the kink, and he is lifting well before the kink to keep the car planted, putting on a little bit of power on the way out, and then a very long coast into the hairpin. So all of these drivers running very conservatively on this long back straight, making sure they have enough energy at the end and trying to avoid damaging these machines with the big slides we've seen through the kink, like we've seen from some of these other drivers further back.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight further back as well between Imran and Nico. He's closing the gap, but he's been a bit ragged in some places. I think the pressure is getting to him a little bit. He's making a little bit of mistakes here, and his lines aren't particularly the best. I think maybe he's a little bit flustered, but he just needs to focus on. As I say that, Nico clips that inside curb and goes all sorts of horribly wrong into the final corner, runs really wide, allowing the door to be open for Imran, but he does get the better line out, and there we go. Imran has taken the position and should be in the lead going through, but there you go, car 15 drive-through penalty crossing the blend line, so he's going to have to dive into the pits. I'm trying to see who else and if anyone else further up. 25 not involved, 25 in there as well.
25 is Gabor.
Carlos Machiotis getting away with an absolute winner there. Drives cleanly into the pit lane and doesn't have to serve a penalty for that, so he's going to have a 12-second advantage back to Nico Contola, who is, I think, the only one out of that lot that's going to make it to the end and is in contention.
Yeah, so cars 2, that is Zdravko Deponiak, Gabor. The number 18 is Lorenzo Lucidi. 13, Simona Salkauskas. 15 Imran Azar, and then the 45 of Yasin Badal, all drive-through penalties. So Carlos Macioitis with a healthy gap that could shrink. We know Alan Terzic is quick, though he used far too much energy in the first race. If he's learned anything from his experience in race 1, he might have a challenge for Carlos Macioitis there in the lead. But Gabor, Imran Azar now running 3rd and 4th. Their championship fight is now complicated by a drive-through penalty. Imran Azar goes by the pit entry line, so choosing not to serve it yet. He's gone past the wet commitment line just as the track is declared dry. So Gabor has come in and changed tires. He will still need to serve a drive-through penalty, but Imran Azar is on wet tires. He's going to do a slow lap, Tom.
No, Gabor hasn't changed tires. He's just served his drive-through penalty.
I think I misread that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think he. Yeah, I think Imran needs to go. I don't know. Did Imran pit there? Did he keep going on? I don't know what's going on.
No.
He needs. Okay, he needs to go in. I think that was a mistake there. Unless he does the wet. He really should have, because he's lost more time there than he's going to now. It was a mistake from him. Definitely a misplay.
Oh, the track is, just as we've said that, the track has gone wet. It was dry for a lap, and now it's gone wet again. So, yeah, complicated, just a turn of events there. The weather changing suddenly. Imran Azar, now, like, luck has gone in his favor. Gabor has served his drive-through penalty, doesn't need to come in and change tires. Track is still wet. Imran Azar does need to serve a drive-through penalty, so he's going to fall further back of Gabor. That will cost him 10 or 15 seconds. Carlos Macioitis, a little bit wrong in the final corner. Alan Terzic making up time. Carlos Macioitis had a healthy lead, but now Alan Terzic is right there on top of him.
Yeah, and I wonder if Imran Azar is aware he's got his drive-through penalty, because he still hasn't pitted to serve it. So I think he's got one more lap, I think Pete just said, so he needs to come in at the end of this lap, otherwise he's thrown his championship away.
Well, half a race and then some remaining to see how this shakes out. Carlos Macioitis still in the lead. Alan Terzic chasing and has the fastest lap of the race as it runs. Waiting to see how this shakes out with Imran Azar and Gabor. But Nico Pantola is there in 5th position. Ronnie Cronpush behind. Jared Mead is still in 7th, up from 10th on the grid. Scone Roberts there in 10th, so he's fallen well back from his front row start. I think he'll be a bit frustrated by that. These cars so difficult to control in these conditions. Track declared wet, running around on these rain tires. Yeah, still a long time for this all to play out as we look at the energy, Tom. Everyone appears to be much safer. The margins for Alan Terzic in race 2 here, much better than they were in race 1.
Yeah, I think he's figured it out now. He's definitely on the right direction to make it to the end. Interesting now, Imran Azar, is he going to go into the pits? He's lifted, he's braked. Yeah, I think he's going in. Yeah, he's following orders and he's going into the pits. He just needs to make sure he doesn't spin. Nico Pantola's gone spinning on the inside of the final corner there. I don't know quite what was going on, but he's lost a shed load of time.
Well, apologize for Tom's choice of language there. He got a little bit excited. He said shed load of time. Those are my American ears not tuned to Tom's British accent, so I apologize to everyone, especially Tom, for that. Nico Pantola, after that spin on the brakes, coming into this right-hander, struggling with the car after he went pirouetting off at the final corner. Imran Azar has served a drive-through penalty, and Tom, he's there. Once again, he is there. He's only lost 2 positions. He was right behind Gabor before he served that drive-through penalty, and now he is less than a second behind Nico Pantola. So it's not over yet. He will need to have saved a lot of energy, which he has not done. We're so used to seeing him with 2 or 3 more points of energy in reserve than everyone else around him, but now he's running a deficit. So tricky position for Imran Azar. I think, man, I'm afraid you're right. We wanted to see a very exciting finish, and we could yet, but it's looking grim for Imran Azar in a position we're not accustomed to seeing him, down the order and on an energy deficit.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where I think he's struggling. It's the pressure, I think, might have gotten to him a little bit. I think he wanted a better result in the previous race. He just didn't get it. And he understands the task ahead of him now. And instead of just driving his normal race, which is exactly what he needs to do, he's driving. I think he might be overdriving slightly. He's falling out of his rhythm a little bit, and he's flustered a little bit. But hopefully he'll be able to get his head down, put the laps back into his rhythm, and then we'll see a standard, excellent performance from him.
Well, we will leave Imran Azar to the task as we look backward from Carlos Magiotis at Alan Terzic. Great shot here, and from the front of Alan Terzic now, very low to the ground. You can see just how quick these cars are, and the big slide from Carlos Magiotis through the kink. Alan Terzic follows him into the wall, and so tricky to get these cars slowed down. These easily the fastest they've been in a straight line the entire season, and then slowing to one of the slowest corners we had the entire season. Not quite as tight as some of the hairpins we've seen, like around the New York E-Prix Circuit, famously tight. But Alan Terzic lurking there about 1 second back. He has clearly learned his lesson on energy conservation, level with Carlos Magiotis ahead of him. And Alan Terzic, talented driver, quickly adapted to the nature of these cars, and now challenging for a win, which looks like it could actually come off here, Tom. He was comfortably in the lead, too comfortably in race one, and now he's going to challenge Carlos Magiotis. It looked like he had a nice run to come alongside as Carlos Magiotis got it a little bit wrong out of the chicane. Alan Terzic had a look on the brakes, chooses to follow through this sequence of left and right-hand bends. Alan Terzic in the catbird seat.
Yeah, he's Carlos did a fantastic job. He made a little mistake and then he reacted well and got the good defense in there, so he wasn't under too much pressure. But then again, there's Alan Terzic trying to move out to the outside and show it, getting him all in his mirrors, and really making his presence known and trying to wind the pressure onto Carlos and see if he can make him crack. He's got a lot of time to do it, and he's got a lot of energy left to do it with as well.
Smart driving by Alan Terzic. He got better drive out of turn 7 and had a look on the run down to the kink. Could have tried to make that pass, but then thought better of it and tucked in behind. I think Alan Terzic, he should have a pretty safe race here. 9 seconds ahead of Gabor, just following Carlos Magiotis around and waiting for an opportunity. They so often present themselves in these conditions when it is so difficult to pedal these cars around on these rain tires. There we have a stop-and-go penalty, 10 seconds. That is for Yasin Vidal, who was the recipient of a drive-through penalty in that entire gaggle of drivers who were given penalties. Everyone having serving there in time. Yasin Vidal did not, so now he will be stationary, further damaging his race. Alan Terzic right there with Carlos Magiotis. He's figured out energy conservation, and now it looks like this is a Gabor-esque drive here, Tom. He looks to be well in control of this car, very smooth, managing the oversteer and the wheel spin. He looks quite comfortable.
Yeah, it's clear he's got pace with the car. He's quick in the car, and now he seems to have got the hang of the energy saving that he needs to do. He's right on it. He's not letting him get away. Yes, he's built Carlos has built a little bit bigger of a gap on him this lap than was last lap, but I don't think that really matters too much. He just needs to be there and be there ready for any mistakes that happen.
Carlos Magiotis, though, a talented driver himself. Both of these guys, very, very strong drivers, and Carlos Magiotis with more experience than Alan Terzic has. Though Alan appears to have adapted very well, Carlos Magiotis has done the entire season, and he's also a winner in this series, and he's snuck a few podiums here and there. So, though Alan Terzic is strong in his own right, we're certainly not going to count Carlos out. 2/3 of the way through the race now, Carlos Magiotis, as we've said over the last few minutes, in the lead. Alan Terzic right there under the rear of that car chooses to stay behind. Gabor further back, that gap stable about 10 seconds as Imran Azar looked like he nearly capitalized on Nico Patola going wide out of the final corner, but remains there in 5th position ahead of Roni Kronpush. Nico Patola there in 4th ahead of him, Roni Kronpush behind. Jared Mead is still in 7th position, off on his own. He is on an island, 29 seconds off the lead, and 6 seconds ahead of him, and a further 30 behind him to his competitors. And the track is drying, we have heard now, so there could yet be some excitement if the track happened to go dry between these drivers. Imran Azar and Gabor, that might just be the stroke of luck that Imran Azar would need. But as it runs, still wet, Alan Terzic is ahead of Carlos Magiotis. We missed that talking about these drivers behind. Carlos Magiotis is still right there with him. I suspect, when we flipped to them, that Alan Terzic may have used the back marker to his advantage. There's Carlos Magiotis on the very edge of it. He's in on the brakes. Looked like he might collect Alan Terzic there. Gets the car slowed down in time. Now the two of them working together, flowing through the back markers. Alan Terzic in the lead, 2/3 of the way through the race.
Yeah, it's very, very close all over the place. Justin Badal there absolutely nailing the tyres. But been interesting watching this. I think it might be a little bit of teammates game. Nico has been holding up Imran a little bit and backing him away into Roney. So now Imran makes a little mistake and then Roney's all on him, and so he's now got to worry about the car behind as well as trying to catch the car ahead, as well as his energy and trying to keep his head on. So it's all piling up on Imran. He's got a big job to do, as Gabor is doing exactly what he needs to do. Nobody in front of him to challenge him for his driver's title, his position here in the championship. The guys who can are behind him, and he is currently safe from them. So he's doing a fantastic job at managing his race, and it's all the pressure is now on Imran, who's now just got 6 laps to go, 5 at the end of this one.
Imran Azar needs a huge stroke of luck here to have any chance at taking this championship. Nico Pantola, who we have both driven with in a number of endurance races, Tom. We know he is quick and he is competitive. But we also know he is he's a realist, and he knows. I think he can read the situation as careless. Oh, I don't think he meant to send there. He had the car a little bit wrong over the curbs there. Once again, hard on the brakes, getting the car stopped before he collects Alan Terzic. Yeah, Nico Pantola can see how this is shaking out. I think he knows that his championship is gone, and he's a great teammate. So as you said, I agree with you. I think at this point, now the best he can do is help his usual teammate Gabor by keeping Imran Azar behind him, and cementing this championship for Gabor. Gabor comfortably in the championship lead as it runs. Third is good enough with Imran Azar anywhere behind him. Alan Terzic still in the lead. Track still wet. Laps winding down. It is getting away from Imran Azar. And as I said it, I apologize for talking over JP there, but the call was the track is dry. Where is Gabor?
I don't think it matters, because everyone who is in a position to fight for the race win still has to do most of a lap to then get to the pit. So,
oh, sorry, Tom. Alan Terzic got together there with Carlos Magiotis, or I should have said the other way around. Carlos Magiotis aggressive on the brakes, trying to get by. A little bit too aggressive that time through, and just taps Alan Terzic. Neither of them the worse for it, but the track is dry, so they can dive. They can dive for pit lane. Alan Terzic goes over the entry line. So does Carlos Magiotis. Gabor is going to inherit the lead of the race. We need to watch Gabor and see if he gets into pit lane cleanly.
Yeah, they're both getting driver penalties for that, so that is not what they need to do. Gabor in perfectly there, gets on the brake, gets the car rotated, and he's fine. He is in. Now, Nico Pantola, Imran Azar, are they going to get there correctly? Both get this pace down. Yes, make that entry, get around the corner here, don't mess it up. Yes, all good there. Now, just need to make sure you don't speed in the pits.
Alan Terzic and Carlos Magiotis are through pit lane already. They immediately drove through. It appears they are both, no, they're both on dry tires. So they did, I thought the stop was a little bit too quick, but they both stopped, took dry tires. They will have drive-through penalties. Gabor away on dry tires. No trouble in pit lane. Nico Pantola away on dry tires. Imran Azar away right behind him. Roni Kronpush just in behind one of those back markers. So this is Gabor's race now. Gabor will inherit the lead of the race. No trouble in pit lane. No trouble collecting competitors, no difficulty getting into or out of a pit box. Gabor fully in control now. Imran Azar, the laps are winding down. He has to hope for some incredible luck, but at this point, that luck is under the finger of one of the race control admins, and I would be very surprised if the weather changes at this point. I think it's going to finish this way, with Gabor comfortably in what will ultimately be the lead when the decision from the stewards comes down and sends these two drivers, Alan Terzic and Carlos Magiotis, back into pit lane.
I don't think he will. I think it's actually no, we're on the dry tires now. Sorry, I was going to say because on the wet tires, I think they lost about 7 or 8 seconds from the pit stop. But of course, being on the drive-through, sorry, being on the dry tires now, that is of course amplified. So yeah, he probably almost certainly will. I think their best hope now is to just be very aggressive for the next. But he's got 13 seconds. We'll have to see if that is a realistic time. I don't know how long it's going to take them to do the drive-through, but that is what they've got now.
Yep, Imran Azar's final hope as we look at the energy. Alan Terzic good on energy. Carlos Magioitis perhaps a little bit tight, but it won't matter. These two are going backward on drive-through penalties any moment now.
Safety car.
Safety car deployment. What? There's someone backward on circuit. That is Alexei Grigoriev's is upside down after the kink. There is a safety car because Alexei Grigoriev's is upside down after the kink. We can see Gabor carefully navigating past him. Tom, they get a free stop if they need it. I don't think they do, but they don't have their drive-through penalties yet, and they can't serve drive-through penalties under these conditions. So these two will still be going backward, but Tom, that will put Gabor in the lead. Nico Pantola, well, it doesn't matter whether he's in the lead or not. The 3 championship contenders run line astern. Gabor, Nico Pantola, Imran Azar. The stroke of luck that Imran Azar needed, he desperately needed with the laps winding down, has come to him. Safety car in the late running. Imran Azar, it is not over yet.
No, that is, there's a twist and a turn at every corner. As I said, there's always something rather exciting, and here we go. It's going off again. I'm sure I don't think we could possibly finish under safety car, especially not like this. And normally they do add laps for however long we're under safety car, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, so the call now that we wait for is how many laps will be added. The course car is there behind. We see Rick Rashitska right now behind the stricken machine of Alexei
Safety car was
Grigoriev.
deployed with under 5 laps remaining. No time will be added to the race.
Safety car deployed with less than 5 minutes remaining was the call. No time will be added. So now the luck swung in the favor of Imran Azar, and now perhaps away from him slightly. Now he has to hope for an extremely slow safety car pace, but the safety car has not picked up the leader of the race. The safety car has picked up back markers. So we need to check the lap count and see how many were remaining in the race. I believe we were 3 laps from the finish when the safety car came out. They are not going to add time, so we could have a finish under safety car. We could have a 1-lap dash for the finish. We need to check and see. Either way, Tom, we do have a lot of suspense. There we go. The safety car has picked up the leader of the race. The leader of the race is still Alan Terzic. I suspect at this point they may be assessed post-race penalties, perhaps a bit unfair to them. But there we see the leaders of the race with back markers between the leaders. And there, Gabor, 2 back markers. That is Zdravko Deponiak, and I think that was Pedro Vitor, a purple car, between the leaders and Gabor.
Yeah, it is Vitor. So, I know he's there.
Yeah, so we'll check the lap count, see just how this race will end. Still not sure yet if it will end under safety car or if they will have 1 lap to go. We have not cleared the car of Alexei Grigoriev's yet.
I think it might have just been cleared, actually, now you say that. Well, I'll have to find out, which would say to me we're having a 1-lap shootout to the finish.
We could indeed, but we have not received a call yet about when or if the safety car is going to come in. The safety car does have Alan Terzic, but there are cars between. I don't believe they're compelled to clear the back markers between the leaders and Gabor, but either way, safety car in this lap, there's the call. We will have Jonathan Palmer in our ears any moment now to confirm that call. They have not moved the back markers out of the way. Cars 12 and 34, 7-second penalty drive-through conversion. So there we have it. I think that's my first good prediction this entire season, Tom. I feel good about that. Good to get one in before we're actually done. So the back markers, both of these drivers, courteous, I expect they'll jump out of the way so that this race can come off in the final lap. Here it is, Gabor, Nico Pantola, his teammate, with Imran Azar right behind them. 1 lap shootout for Imran Azar to get through 2 cars and potentially steal a championship. He needs the fastest lap. Well, he doesn't need the fastest lap, but he would like the fastest lap of the race to give himself a little bit of a buffer. Gabor also wants that fast lap, and to stay ahead of Imran Azar, it's all to play for in 1 final lap. Tom, the safety car is crawling. Alan Terzic is probably going to follow the safety car to get some heat in the tires. All of these drivers, stone cold equipment, back markers in the way. Alan Terzic and Carlos Magioitis will try to extend as big a gap as they can to try to retain these positions, but it's about to come off. Here's your chance, Tom. I was about to say one last chance. Here, your prediction.
Look, they've got 10 to 17% battery. They've got 1 lap. There is going to be 0 saving. This is going to be full sends. Who knows the braking points? Who knows how good they are? I think it's gone. Alan Terzic has gone. He's launched the cars off. There we go. He's gone full speed around turn 1.
Green
there
flag.
We go. Green flag running as we're off.
Green flag. Final lap.
Pedro Vitor dives straight out the way. Nico Pantola moving all the way into zigzagging, acting as a defender for his teammate in front. I know they're not teammates now, but they are acting as teammates right now as Nico is holding. Roni is right behind him. Ramazar might act as a bit of a trying to attack him as he dives to the inside. He's taken a fantastic move and they've respected it. No collisions made. That was a fantastic check there. Restart is now under investigation as well, so it's all going off here. This is going to be Imran Azar's chance. He needs an exit here. He needs to do the best possible launch and to get a great start. It's a great run through the corner. Oh, a bit of wheel spin on exit. And now we go tugging into the slipstream of Nico Pantola and just needs to get the run. We know Gabor isn't that confident through this corner. There we go, 272 kilometers.
Sorry, Tom. Carlos Magioitis and Alan Terzic have collected one another coming into the hairpin right ahead of Gabor. Imran Azar is through Nico Pantola. Imran Azar has gotten through Nico Pantola. Nico Pantola is behind, but he's too far adrift of Gabor. Nico Pantola goes for the position again. He can't get it. Imran Azar is wide. These two are side by side coming into the final kick. Gabor has driven off into the distance. It doesn't matter. Imran Azar, he's not going to take the points he needs. Oh, he bashes into Nico Pantola. Nico Pantola goes wide. He was off the circuit, but not his own fault. Imran Azar is going to fall behind. That is a championship for Gabor ahead of Imran Azar. He made a spirited attempt. He couldn't do it. He tried to get through Nico Pantola, but he was just too far behind. Gabor is going to be your champion. All he needed to do was finish ahead of Imran Azar. The winner will be Alice Terzic ahead of Carlos Magioitis, but they don't have a big enough gap ahead of Gabor to retain those positions. They have a 7-second drive-through penalty. Tom, Gabor will be champion on a win after a late safety car restart and a 1-lap dash to conclude this season.
Yeah, the podium here, Gabor winning the race, Nico Pantola second, and Imran Azar third. So I don't think this message has got reached the podium sitters, as we see Carlos Magioitis has taken up the second place position on the podium and Gabor taking third, when realistically Gabor needs to move his car and get it on the top step of that podium.
He does indeed. I think Alan Terzic saw the message, but Carlos and Gabor did not. Gabor, the champion, he'll be elevated to first position in this race because of the post-race penalties assessed for pit lane infractions. Carlos Magioitis and Alan Terzic crossing the pit entry line. Gabor will be the winner of this race. He is the champion in this season. In this season of the MRC E-Challenge. Once again, Gabor, the champion. Imran Azar, he gave it his all. He had luck come his way. At the very end, it looked like it was completely out of his grasp. A late safety car gave him just the slimmest of hopes, but unfortunately, not enough time, unable to capitalize. And there we can see in the background, Gabor reversing. It's okay to do that now. Down the podium, back up again into first position. Carlos Magioitis will move out of the way. There is your winner and your champion, Gabor, on the top step of the podium. Soak it in, Gabor. We wait for Nico Pantola and Imran Azar to join him, flank him in the second and third positions. But Gabor, well-deserved first position in the final race of the season. He is your champion. Tom, I think you called it. A lot has happened since then. I believe your prediction was that Gabor would pull it off, and there he has done it.
Yeah, it's a Gabor. It's a classic Gabor show. He is just. It's one of those. He's almost unbreakable. He has such great mental control and focus. You very rarely ever see him make mistakes, and that's what you need over a championship, over a season when the pressure is on. At the end of the first race, he really left himself a bit of a job to do. It was still in his favor, of course, because he had the 1 point advantage and he was starting higher up than Imran Mazar on the starting order, and he converted that in the best way possible.
He did indeed. The race result, we haven't gotten to that yet. You can see there at the top, Alan Terzic, Carlos Machaiotis. They will be demoted about 7 seconds. That will put them behind Roni Kronpush and ahead of Jared Mead. So your winner will be Gabor ahead of Nico Patola and Imran Azar, Roni Kronpush. And then we will have Alan Terzic, Carlos Machaiotis, and Jared Mead. Pedro Vitor behind them. Lorenzo Lucidi, Scone Roberts rounding out the top 10. Good show from Scone Roberts. We're thrilled to have him join this series 2 weeks ago. Had a rough go of it, but gained positions from his starts a couple weeks ago, and he's done the same today. Top 10 finish in both races. We welcome him to the series and congratulate him on strong finishes. We do have a few drivers queued up for interviews. We're going to take a breath for 30 seconds, and then we will come back and talk to some of the drivers. We'll be right back. We are back here on Sim Broadcast. The MRC E-Challenge season concluded. Fifth round finished at the Adelaide E-Prix Circuit. And we have race 1 winner in the commentary box with us, Jared Mead. You surprised Tom and I there, pleasantly, of course. You pulled a blinder and managed to squeak out a well-deserved win in race 1. Hats off to you.
Yeah, I surprised myself with that start, to be totally honest. I don't even really know what happened. I grabbed first gear and the front row just didn't move. It's like, oh, all right, I guess I'm going up the middle now.
Yeah, and you had a bit of a challenge early from Gabor, but then you were able to take the position back. When he was a little aggressive with the power, you managed it really well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was a bit of an energy thing. I mean, Terzic did the same thing, kind of ran out to a big gap. And I just kind of decided to take it a little easier and just pick away at it. Nice, consistent fuel burn for the whole race.
Yeah, fantastic job, Jared. It's good to see you getting that race win. You worked hard for that, and it's it's good to see you got this. I think that was your second of the year. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but it's fantastic to see. And how have you found this season as a whole?
I've really enjoyed the season. It's a very ambitious thing that Michael has put together, and I think he's really knocked it out of the park. The tracks have been great. The car has been great. The whole weather. He really dug into. He took some risks, and I think it paid off really well. And he's put on a great series. NDR's has done an excellent job implementing it all. You guys have put on fantastic shows. And I know you've put a lot of custom graphics into all this, and it's been an excellent show that's all come together really well. So well done to everybody involved.
That was very kind of you to say. We appreciate that. You mentioned Alan Terzic. I asked Carolus this when we were. Pardon me. I asked Carolus this when we were between races. What did you think when Alan Terzic took off ahead of you? Because I think everyone here knows that he's a very strong driver. But did you think he was? Did you think he was strong enough to run away with a 10-second lead, or did you immediately know he was in energy trouble?
I wouldn't say immediately. I mean, he chased me down and went by. It's like, okay, he's good, he's fast. Maybe he's just this fast. Then he started to reverse back into me. It's like, okay, no, he's in trouble. Just keep calm. He's in trouble. Don't throw it away.
Fair enough. That's a good attitude. Well, 2 wins this season. You shared your thoughts on the production and the organization and the series, and we do thank you for that. Round out your thoughts.
I think I've already kind of said it. I think this series has gone really well. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Not really a huge amount in feedback. Oh, I'm sure Michael always asks for feedback. There'll be tiny little things. But for a first time to something this ambitious, it's gone this well. Looking forward to the next one, and looking forward to the I don't know if the next NDR series has been announced or not. It's a terribly kept secret, but I'm not going to be the one to let that cat out of the bag.
We appreciate your discretion. Thank you very much for joining us for this season and in the commentary box, and we wish you well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Next up, we will have Nico Pantola, 3rd place finisher in the Drivers' Championship. Nico, you put up a hell of a fight. Wasn't quite enough to take a championship, but 3rd place is a 3rd place against such strong drivers is a very respectable finish indeed. And I say you have a pretty good day. How did it go out there?
Yeah, thank you. Everything was really fine. Not much to worry about, apart from a few taps and a bit of scuffy things here and there, but in the end everything worked out really nicely, and the Pacific car really worked nicely, and I don't know, it was a fun race.
So Nico, next time, if there is a next time this is going on, do you think you'll be in a position to challenge for the championship, or would you?
Well, we'll see about that. Probably, I'll try my best.
So late in race 2, that safety car, I think I expect it surprised you. It certainly gave us a bit of a shock because it looked like the championship was well out of Imran Azar's reach, and then suddenly he had a final chance, and it looked like you were helping your teammate out a little bit. True or false?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't that far from the championship as well, but I really wanted to try finish as best as I could. Maybe there was a few places where I slowed down a bit, but nothing to majorly cause any effect, in my opinion.
Well, we applaud you for giving it your all, and Pacific Tech have to be really happy because you've been under the cameras a lot. They've supported you this season, so I'm sure you must be pleased, and I'm sure they are as well.
Yeah, I hope so at least. It's thanks to them for the sponsorship as well.
Thanks very much to them and to you for participating this season, putting on a great show for us, and joining us in the commentary box. That is Nico Pantola, 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship. We hope to see you on the next event, the next NDR event that we broadcast here on Sim Broadcast. Hats off to you. Thanks again. Next, we will talk to 2nd place finisher in the championship, Imran Azar. Imran, you finished well in race 1. It looked like you were on for a championship fight. You were 1 point behind Gabor, and then race 2 got away from you. And then late in the race, you had just a shred of hope, and unfortunately, you made a hell of an effort, but couldn't quite pull it off. Tell us tell us about the ups and downs of that final race.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think congrats to the board and Rico. Yeah, they both deserved it very well because they drove very well all season. And also thanks to Michael for organizing this championship. I think it was a lot of fun. And if there was a championship next year, of course, I'll definitely join again. But yeah, in terms of ups and downs, yeah, I mean, the first race, there was a lot of downs because lap 1, I got taken out for some reason. Yeah, and then I fell down the order, and then fell down the order some more. And then when the rain came, that was when like I was right at the pit entry, so that's why I kind of had to make that split-second decision. So I think, so basically I had to cross the pit entry line anyway. So I think it was worth the penalty because I don't think of another full lap full of with wet tires would essentially gave me any more positions. But but race 1, I think that's all I could hope for essentially. But race 2, I mean, what happened in race 2? I think I was a bit I don't know, I was a bit lucky, I guess, with the safety car at the end. But other than that, I think Gabor drove fantastically. So I don't think I would have kept calling maybe this one.
Imran, a theme we've noticed with yourself in these races, you've always been excellent with energy conservation, and you've normally always been miles ahead of everyone. In race 2, that wasn't quite the case. Any particular reason?
I think because I don't know, maybe I don't know, because like it was a race, because the full race was more towards like wet, so I think I probably miscalculated like my approach to it, because I mean most of my like driving, like saving and all, it's been like mostly adapted to the dry. So I think because it was wet the whole race, I think I didn't really know how to probably adapt the energy saving part to it. So I think maybe that's the reason why. But yeah.
Well, you put on a great show for us, and you gave it everything you had there at the very end. It's a shame you couldn't take a championship, but we do congratulate you regardless on a very strong second place and behind such a strong driver. I know you want to be a champion, but I assume you have to be pleased to compete with someone like Gabor, who is just so strong and talented.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think the most important thing was that I had fun, and I think it was a pleasant way to spend the Sunday evening. And yeah, I mean, a championship would be like sort of like cherry on the cake, but it was all in all, I think I had a lot of fun, and I think that's the most important thing. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to hear it, and we thank you for joining and putting on such an entertaining performance for us. I think you of all the drivers gave Tom and I the most to talk about, so we thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for joining us for a few minutes in the commentary box. And once again, congratulations on second place in the championship.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We have one more interview before we conclude our presentation. This gentleman is becoming a regular in at the Commentary Box Club. Carlos Machiotis back with us once again. Carlos, looked like you were on for a good fight to try to take a win there at the end, and then unfortunately you went over the pit entry line as so many other drivers did and scored a 7-second penalty. But even so, that was a great fight with Alan Terzic.
Yeah, it was fun. I was anticipating that I will probably have a hard time turning right there to get into the pit lane, and I still went too far over. So yeah, it's unfortunate that I got that penalty. Also, I'm really sorry to number 12 on the last corner after the back straight. I rammed into him so hard. I braked way too late there.
Well, I know he's paying attention in Twitch chat, so I think he'll appreciate that. That is very big of you. So thank you for sharing that. Your thoughts on this season? You had so many exciting performances, and we had so much fun watching you go around in these races. Share your final thoughts on the 2023 season.
Well, overall, I think it was a great season. I mean, not from me as a driver, but from the whole organizing perspective. They put a lot of thought into this, and I think this gave a lot of new things to LFS.
Well, we're glad you enjoyed it, and we're certainly glad you took the time to participate and be out there racing with all of these drivers. You're a prominent personality in the community, and yeah, we've just been thrilled to talk to you and to cast these races with you participating. So thanks very much for joining, running these races, talking to us in the commentary box. And you, I think you had a pretty strong championship finish. You should be 4th or 5th place when it all shakes out. So congratulations for running a whole season and running near the front.
Yeah, thanks. Especially considering that I missed the first round. Yeah, I'm really happy with where I'm at. And thanks for the commentary.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. That is Carlos Matrioitis. He will be, if I'm looking at the chart correctly, he will be 4th place in the championship when it is all concluded. You can look for that in the forum when the officials have finished tallying up all the championship points after round 5. Tom, I think we are just about done. Now it is your turn to share your final thoughts on this season.
It's been a rather fantastic few races, few events. I've loved every minute of it. We've had some big names join us, and it's been really exciting all the way up to the finish, especially with the championship coming down to that very, very last race. In fact, the very last couple of laps. I think it's been a bit of an omen of the entire championship. We've seen close midfield battles all the way through. We've seen twists and turns at every single race and every event. So it's going to be I'm hoping maybe we'll get another one because it's always good fun. And thank you for letting me join you in the commentary box, Travis.
Thank you very much for being here with me. It has been a joy as always. We do a lot of racing activities together, but I think this one is my favorite. Not just because you're a talented commentator and I enjoy your company, but because you're better at this than you are driving a pretend race car. So that makes me feel good. Tom Jones, everyone, thank you very much for joining us on this adventure. And finally, we got one more person we'll invite to share his thoughts. Michael Malik, who has made all of these amazing layouts for us. Member of the MRC team. Michael Malik, congratulations to you on a great season, well conducted. We had a few ups and downs and hiccups here and there, but I would say all in all, this was fantastic. You've done a marvelous job, and we thoroughly enjoyed bringing it to you and to the rest of the team and all our viewers.
Hello everyone, I hope you liked it. It was a lot of effort from everyone involved, but I hope the final result was at least exciting for you as it was for me.
Well, I'm going to put words in everyone's mouth and say it certainly was. It definitely was for Tom and I and everyone else on the team. So thank you very much for putting in the time and the energy. We really appreciate it. We had a blast bringing this event to everyone, and we really hope you do it again. I'm going to tease you here. What can we expect in the future, Michael?
Well, I have some ideas flying in my head for the next year. Essentially, I would want to go with the Simplify Things team, but that's still a full year away from now. So all I can say is that I am wanting to make another edition. Depends how things will go. So that's the prediction.
Well, there we go. Stay tuned, everyone. Thank you very much. Michael Malik, MRC team, creator of these layouts, one of the organizers, and the car as well. Skoan added, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Skoan added the electric car features. Michael Malik made this MRC E-Challenge EVO car mod that we use to conduct these events, and it has produced such excellent racing. We've had a wonderful time showing off that car on these streams for these drivers to race and for all of you to see. I think that will do it for us. We should conclude by saying once again, congratulations to Gabor for a 2023 MRC E-Challenge Championship win. Well deserved, brilliant season run by him. Imran Azar. Congratulations to him. So close in second position, but he should be very proud of that achievement. Gabor is a very strong driver, and second position is no small achievement. Third position in the Drivers' Championship will be Nico Patola, our friend and co-driver sometimes. Congratulations to you. Thank you very much for participating. And now, thank you to everyone who helped us get here and was involved in this series, its creation and presentation. The MRC team, in particular, Michael Malik, who we just spoke to for creating these layouts, and the car. The New Dimension Racing team, the JPs, Jonathan Provost and Jonathan Palmer in the background. They are the guys that you occasionally hear come over the broadcast and making the calls in the background. We couldn't do this without New Dimension Racing, so we thank them very much for all of their effort. The production team, Pete and Elmo. Pete's in our ears. Elmo is in our ears as well, responsible for all of these camera layouts. Pete does the graphics and helps us with the presentation. Both of them call the action for Tom and I to then share with you. Scone Roberts, thank you very much for joining us 2 weeks ago and again this week. Strong performances from him. It's been fun to watch. We kind of let him fly under the radar today and let him run his own race without too much scrutiny, and he did well, put on a great performance with us. And of course, we can't thank him enough for creating Live for Speed and sharing it with us. All the drivers who participated, thank all of you for putting on such a great performance. Brilliant racing. Tom and I had so much covering this. Everyone else in the background has been thrilled to see you run in these series that we have created and covered for you. So thank you to all of you for taking the time on your Sunday afternoons and evenings to run this race. And then finally, everyone watching, this wouldn't make any sense if we didn't have people turn up to watch it. So we're thrilled for your patronage, and we're glad that you're here with us on this journey. Wherever you are, be safe, be well, enjoy the coming spring, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching us here on Sim Broadcast. The MRC E-Challenge 2023 season has finally concluded after round 5. We're happy you watched it with us. Have a great day wherever you are.
Bye.